to some of the schemes we saw here. So let me say a little bit more about a word that we're doing on the data fusion section that I think is significant.
A lot of
basically,
the campers that are at these places along the Guadalupe River, they're there for several days or for weeks at a time. Their parents might be on vacation. We've heard stories of some parents that were out of.
Okay. Sorry, getting loaded up, ready. A lot of breaking news. Start off with this first. Crazy flooding in Texas, man. 24 dead, confirmed dead. And 2 of the kids from the camp are deceased as well, they're saying. What's up, everybody? How you doing? Hope you guys are safe. All right. I know there's probably got some hungover people today, but it's incredible to see all the stuff that's happened, the damage. Push this out everywhere else as well, the other streaming platforms, let everybody know we're live. Sign up to the email list too if you guys haven't done so already, in case I don't have notifications. All right, I want to show you guys something. I wanted this live feedback 15 minutes because there was something interesting. This lady was standing out there in Texas, a reporter, and I just wanted to show you what the water looks like out there. So let me just switch it over.
So you heard it here. This man who has lived here in 25 years in Georgetown says he's not alarmed. We've talked to other people who have lived here for an equal amount and say this is incredible. Wow, that was a big wave that just came right towards our feet. I think some men are braver than I am, so it's not alarming for him. Me, on the other hand, at some points the waves reach my feet, and for that reason I get a little anxious because we know that they can rush you out. These waters can take you within a moment's notice, and it only takes one strong surge, one strong wave to take you in these floodwaters, and then it turns into a water rescue situation.
Almost looked like it was going to get
don't want to be in that position.
Overrun. I wanted to show you guys that. I was like, oh, wow.
My photographer's telling me that there's a branch stuck on the bridge.
We're going to get to all the updates.
I see it. What do you see?
Hold on, let me turn it down. It's a branch that's stuck. The water's just rushing through it. So I don't know how long it's gonna be right there, but yeah.
It's
actually a couple branches that are stuck right there from what I'm seeing.
So my photographer Jawan is saying it's essentially a bunch of debris that's been caught at the top of this bridge, and it's actually standing up straight. So that bridge is standing up straight, and it's kind of a pile of debris. And I think the reason it hasn't been able to fall is because that water is slapping that bridge so intensely that it's actually holding up that pile of debris, so it hasn't had the opportunity to get washed away because it's having the bridge hold it up and the water slapping it in 2 opposite directions, so it's standing up straight. Okay, that pile of debris just got swept away. And it was incredibly strong too. I mean, that pile of debris got swept away quickly because of how strong and intense that floodwater is.
So the water is still very much like strong out there.
These waves are still crashing up onto us at our feet. We're gonna go check that area that we were in previously, that walkway with those handrails that were engulfed in water. So bear with us as we move this camera angle. It's only just a couple of steps away, but we're going to go check that area to see how far the water has risen and to see how we're processing and coming along in that area. Hi. More Georgetown police officers are here. I think they're deploying them to this area because this area is super accessible to pedestrians.
River flooding.
And we know that a lot of people are on looking everything that's happening here at the San Gabriel River.
So that part, I just rewinded a little bit because I wanted to show you guys the bridge. She ends up walking across. Let me just see what they had, just to show you some of the visuals.
I mean, I can't imagine, like, sorry.
It's scary for me.
Yeah.
Whenever I look at it, I'm like, if I was in that, like, you're not getting out of that. You're gone. There's no telling how far you're gonna go. Yeah. And you know, it's just scary. I wouldn't want to be over there.
Yeah. It's scary to think of the people that have been caught in it, if there's anybody been caught in it. Like,
yeah. If anyone falls in, they're gone.
Yeah.
When you see how powerful it is, and like looking at that, you know, building that you had shown me that's completely underwater, is this surprising to you? You know, did you notice that much rainfall pouring in?
I did not. I knew our backyard was very flooded. We had like 9 inches of rain in our backyard, but once we came over here and saw this, I don't even know. I have no words. I'm speechless. I've never seen that much in my life.
And this is home for you. When you think about the flooding that Georgetown has seen at some points, how does this compare?
I've never seen anything even remotely close to this, ever. I mean, yeah. So.
What brought you guys down here today?
Mostly kind of just like the news and stuff, and my mom's friends had told her that there was a flood, and I was like, well, I want to see it. I've never seen a big flood before. Yeah. So this is my first time ever seeing a flood, and seeing it this bad. It's insane. What
you mentioned to me kind of stuck with me a little bit, that if you were caught in something like this, you're worried that you wouldn't come out.
I'd be worried that no one would ever find me, because there's no telling how far you're going to go. You can get sucked into every single tunnel. You could be 40 feet down inside of like a sewer drain, but no one's ever going to find you until more rain pushes you out.
What are your friends telling you?
I'm in a work group chat, and our boss sent us a picture of the bridge and said that the bridge, I guess, was gone. I guess the one in San Gabriel Park apparently is gone, is what they've told us. And then there were several evacuations going on, so we kind of just came out to just check it out to see. So.
Is there anything else you guys want to add that maybe I haven't asked you?
No, I think that's good.
Well, thanks for this impromptu interview. No, thank you. No.
He's better than me.
Okay, let me just fast forward a little bit. We'll catch it up. I just wanted you to see the water flow. This is
attributing
about 15,
to the river and
ago.
Really just hitting
Isn't that
downstream
crazy? Look
with
how the water's
intense
moving.
force. So that interview again with 2 Georgetown residents saying that they came down here to this area to essentially.
We're going to talk about the camp. There's 2 girls confirmed deceased. Really, really, really sad. I saw this late last night about these 2 girls. Really, really sad. Still a bunch of people missing. I'm going to see if I can get the numbers. Because the adults versus children. But very, very, very sad. I wanted to see this poster too, one of the parents had made here. Look at this water.
Luckily, we have not seen that happen. At some points, the waves actually crash in so intensely that it reaches the top of the green handrails, but we haven't really seen it. We haven't really seen it completely flood over the green handrails. I want to give you some perspective here. No, you can stay with tripod. I want to give you some perspective here. At points in time when we had first arrived, we know that the water was reaching here at the bottom level. At some point when the waves come crashing in from that floodwater heading downstream at the San Gabriel River, the waves would go over these green handrails and hit up here on this rock area. We know that this pathway is meant for pedestrians. This is a walkway so people can actually reach the river, and it goes all the way further down. But because of this floodwater, it's difficult to tell that this was a walkway. My photographer's getting nervous again. He has a better, he's getting a bird's eye view, and I'm just, getting this look right here. Look, so this is what I mean, that the floodwater comes crashing in and can sometimes hit the top of these green handrails. If it were, I almost did get splashed. If it consistently.
That is the reporter the other day that was covering that fire in Texas where they found a body. I still haven't even updated all the fires yet. When am I going to do that? I don't know, because with this flood storage, it's been kind of crazy. We'll see. I was supposed to do it last night, but we were here late last night. One of the parents made this post and said, thank you to all our friends and family for all the prayers and outreach. Renee has been found. While not the outcome we prayed for, the social media outreach likely assisted the first responders in helping identify her so quickly. We are thankful she was with her friends and having the time of her life, as evidenced by this picture from yesterday. She will forever be living her best life at Camp Mystic. Please continue to pray. So I think this is one of the family or parents. We're now trying to make our way home from Italy to be with Michelle's family. This little girl. So in the camp, that Camp Mystic, they were saying that it's an all-girl camp, but I think the missing 20-something, I believe, or unaccounted for, was the structure or the camp that had the youngest kids. They also said the camp director was killed. So I was wondering too, like, well, who was with the kids? Why weren't they evacuated? I understand people say the water just comes, you know. There's a lot of talk about the weather and, like, you know, they knew some type of rain was coming, I guess, but not this much. I mean, in 2025, like, technological advancements that we have, you know, we still can't tell this, I guess. And, you know, there's been a lot of talk too. I don't want to veer it too much into conspiracy, but people were talking about cloud seeding and all that stuff, which Texas does do. We'll talk about that later on. I don't know if this is the cause for this or not, but was it Dubai? There was like this crazy rain. Let me see. Cloud seed. Is it called cloud seed? Dubai cloud seed. I think it was Dubai not that long ago that had this crazy amount of rain and flooding. It was like insane. I thought it was Dubai. So it's kind of a controversial thing, you know. I don't know.
CBS Austin streaming online. We are on YouTube, Dubai, Facebook, right? Of course, our website at cbsaustin.com. Thank you for tuning into our stream. We are bringing you live updates.
The way the water is flooding everywhere.
The Georgetown and Williamson County flooding that we've seen. We know that several evacuations along the San Gabriel River are in place. I want to talk to you about some specific information that I have in the Williamson County area. So if you have the ability to take notes or listen intensely, this is your opportunity to do so. Here's the information that I got from Williamson County officials that I just want to go over with you so everyone is safe. We're all on the same page. Again, we know that Georgetown right now is an all-hands-on-deck effort. We know that every available first responder is working to make sure that we avoid any... Wow!
Play around with that.
That was a big splash. I was standing there just a few minutes ago. If I were there, that would have absolutely submerged me. So let's go over some information that I got from Williamson County. I want to make sure that I'm specifying that this is from Williamson County. This is from county officials. We know that homes and structures along the San Gabriel River have been evacuated. Homes, of course, mean houses. Structures mean businesses, storage units, sheds, anything like that. If anyone was in there right now, we know that they have since been evacuated. They received an evacuation notice. This is not a mandatory evacuation. Of course, an evacuation notice is a suggestion. You should get out of the area. Floodwaters could surge, flood, and they change intensely, so it's a suggestion to get out of the way. These are the areas that have since been evacuated. County Road 200 and Bear Creek, SH 29 and 1660. Heritage Hollow at FM 971. Those are the areas that have received these evacuation notices. These are the most intense evacuation notices in Williamson County. Of course, other areas, of course, including Georgetown, have gotten evacuation notices, but these are the most intense that Williamson County officials said the people here in this area need to take heed. I'll get out of the way so my photographer can show you the good stuff and you can just listen to me. Again, those areas that have been receiving evacuation notices in Williamson County include County Road 200 and Bear Creek. SH 29 and 16
okay, so
is using flooding. I know about an update from Williamson County officials that a disaster declaration has been in place. A disaster declaration in Williamson County has 3 p.m. This is a dangerous, life-threatening situation. Do not attempt to travel unless you are fleeing an area subject to flooding or under an evacuation order. We know several people are actually under an evacuation order in Williamson County. The majority of those areas include apartments and structures that are along the San Gabriel River. But I also want to let you know some other places in Williamson County that have received evacuation notifications. That includes County Road 200 and Bear Creek, SH 29 and 1660, Heritage Hollow at FM 971. Those are the areas in Williamson County that have received evacuation notices. They are at the most dire situations, and of course this is in places that can see that catastrophic flooding. We are going to log off so we can head and check on our neighbors and residents that have been evacuated. We're also going to speak to Williamson County Judge Bill Gravel to get some information on that disaster declaration. But for now, reporting in Georgia.
Okay, so let me go through some of the stuff that I have. This was interesting. We've seen this clip so many times, but this was reported yesterday.
These camps evacuated yesterday. Texas Department of Emergency Management put out an all call and said there's going to be a problem. We knew there was going to be a problem. Why weren't these camps evacuated?
I can't answer that. I don't know.
Well, you're the judge. I mean, you're the top official here in this county. Why can't you answer that? There are kids missing. These camps were in harm's way. We knew this flood was coming.
We didn't know this flood was coming. Rest assured, no one knew this kind of flood was coming. We have floods all the time. This is the most dangerous river valley in the United States.
I agree.
And we deal with floods on a regular basis. When it rains, we get water. We had no reason to believe that this was going to be any.
Ms. Harmony said, I was staying in Dubai and I would see these planes shooting those seeds puffs out, and they would then form these fake looking clouds, and then it would monsoon rain, flooding the highway where I live. Very interesting. Very interesting, yeah. This was
now the July 4th floods of 2025.
crazy. Horrific. Oh, this guy's been giving updates.
All right, this isn't going to be fancy. This is a quick sit rep for today, 0300 and on. We're giving, this is Doc Chambers in Kerrville, Texas right now, monitoring from last night and currently. Understand that we have new areas of concern. It's going to be the Lake Travis region. I think we're going to be okay right now, but it could potentially, if we get a big dump of rain, we're monitoring that situation as we speak. Flash warnings are the biggest concern. So this is the weather threat timeline for Lake Travis area, active until about 06:30. So that would be, you know, obviously it's going to continue because the rainfall is increasing, but 1 to 2 inches in this case. Isolated in 3 to 5 overnight. Last night is what came in. So right now we're looking at from 0700, which is our time, 7:40 here in Texas. For you local people, you know that rain is diminishing, but we're going to focus on the shifts to downstream surge. So that's going to be around the Lake Travis area. Understand Lake Travis is really low right now. A lot of docks are sitting up on the land prior to all this, so we'll see. I've got some recon teams going out there right now. It's back further east from us. We're further west from that location, so we will be monitoring and be able to get the information out quick. I don't see any problem with the dam or anything over there. It is pretty robust, but we want to see what they do with regard to the spillways if it does crest. Don't think it will on the lake. That's my personal opinion. Downstream impact for the next 24 to 48 hours. Canyon Lake, the levels are at 918 feet, which is up 10 feet Once again, there's another lake that has been really low right now, so not too much concern there. But the impacted communities, if it were to go over the top, doubt it. New Braunfels, which is Comal County, that's Comal over that way, and then Seguin, Guadalupe County, and then Gonzales and Victoria, low to moderate risk. Canyon Lake buffering. So Canyon Lake will buffer that as it reaches that location, because that's way further east. But just to consideration, this river goes all the way down to the San Antonio Bay, which is the Gulf of, we're going to call it the Gulf of Texas today, but that's where it will end up dumping into. So last night, search and rescue continued from 04. It should be continuing up until about now. We just watched some game warden boats go by. I haven't talked to them yet, but if any of you guys are out there, game wardens, I know you're not watching, but if you're monitoring, have them get a hold of me. They've got my number so that I can actually go to that point. Okay, I'm gonna keep this short, so 10 more seconds. So again, summary: critical flood gauges, ongoing flash flood waves, widespread evacuations. It's still a level 1 emergency in this Guadalupe corridor.
Guadalupe, still dangerous out there. This is Dr. Pete Chambers. He's like on the ground giving reports. Expanded alert, July 5th, 2025, 11 a.m., 1100 hours, which is, their central time. We'll just take a quick look. Monitoring stations above flood stage. Okay. Rainfall totals 10 to 14 inches. I'll retweet this. Terrifying reports out of Texas reveals multiple screaming people floated away while trapped in their vehicles. I haven't seen this yet. Let's see.
How low was the river down there before obviously this happened?
Oh, way down there. Way down. See where that bush is? You see where it's on the other end? Mm-hmm. It's only about 8 feet wide. So it's all this. Look at how high that is up there.
We've seen trailers wrapped up in trees.
I've seen about 15 or 20 trailers come by this morning, and they and cars, and a lot of them had people in them that were screaming, and we couldn't do anything about it because they were 100, 200 feet away. And
how were you able to get up? Did you just wake up in time, or?
That dog kept me up, and I said, well, I better get up and see what's going on. And then I saw it coming up, so I started warning everybody else. And I never thought mine would be gone, because I've been here a lot of floods, but it's always been way down there. That big tree right there.
This one that's still
that huge
standing?
one. You can't see how big it is. That's over 500 years old. Still standing.
That, and there's only a few things still standing.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, this was all, you couldn't see anything. It was all debris, Now you can see everything. Holy moly, I'm gonna see what's going on. Okay. So, y'all have.
Wow. He's claiming some people were screaming in a vehicle as it was floating down, trapped in their vehicles, floated away. Oh, this is the camp director too. Camp director, they said, is dead. For the girls that are missing?
Not the only campsite that was seriously impacted by these devastating floods. We just heard also in that press conference, 18 camps were impacted. And sadly, Jane Ragsdale, a camp director at Heart of the Hills Camp, also in Hunt, has died while reportedly trying to rescue her camp staff. Everyone else, we are told, at that camp was able to escape the floodwaters. We haven't been able to see those campgrounds for ourselves, but one mother of 2 camp counselors told me earlier it's completely destroyed. Let's show you her 2 daughters. She says she last spoke with them around 2 this afternoon, and one of them even has an injured leg. She knows they did get to a higher ground. They're okay, but she says even just in the last hour we were texting, she says they're still waiting to be rescued at this hour from that campsite. But again, she believes that everyone is okay. It's just their phones died. She hasn't been able to get in contact with them. But take a listen to what this mother had to tell me.
They couldn't send me pictures, but she's like, Mom, I don't know what's going to happen. everything is gone. And she's like, we're looking for Jane, everything's gone. And I was like, okay. So I said, just wait, I'm sure something will happen. But the camp lost their heart.
And that's what we're hearing about that camp director, is that she was the heart of that camp, loved.
So camp director is deceased. Let me talk a little bit about the two girls. This is really sad. And I don't know, the longer that it takes to find these missing kids, it's just not looking good. Two girls at the Texas Christian camp found dead as dozens remain missing after devastating floods. It's Renee, 8 years old, and Janie, 9 years old, were among the 25 campers who were washed away. Really sad. I showed this picture earlier. Renee. The parents commented. And then this is the other little girl here. Janie. It's not clear if any of the campers have been found dead, but local reports indicate that some of the girls were rescued. Now the camp, I want to show you this first. Oh no, it's not that one. Hold on. This first. This is, somebody got a video of this, what the camp looks like. Apparently the after. Look, it's gone.
This used to be a campground. These are all campsites. You can see the pipes for the RV sewage. It was all full too. All those RVs are downriver, stuck on trees like that one.
This was an update earlier.
Thanks, Joe. I'm Mayor Joe Herring Jr., Mayor of Kerrville, Texas. I'm glad you're here. And I have a few comments to make. People need to know today will be a hard day. It will be a hard day. This is the message I want to share. The city of Kerrville is thankful. We have help from our city crews, from county personnel, from state agencies, and federal resources, including the Coast Guard. I have been asked how people can help. The sheriff has mentioned that a fund has been set up by the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country. Information about this can be found on the city's Facebook page. In fact, if you want to know how to help, I know from my phone, from my texts, from my emails, thousands of people across our state and the world want to know how they can help. The easiest way to get information about that is to follow the City of Kerrville Facebook page. City of Kerrville, City Hall Facebook page. They have done an admirable job of making sure all resources and all information is available, not only to the citizens of Kerrville, but to the citizens of the world. I'm thankful you're here. Today will be a hard day. Please pray for our community. Next up is City Manager Dalton Rice.
Crazy. Crazy. So sad. Those kids are. Oh, here's I think these are these are survivors. Two brothers displaying their terrifying night and how they survived the Kerr County floodwaters. The brothers were sleeping at Camp La Juanta when they started floating. At least 24 people have lost their lives.
I'm one of the campers from Camp La Juanta, one of the camps that flooded. And I had a first-hand view of the flood, and so the cabins were flooding, and the walls were like they broke down, and all of the campers in those cabins had to go up on the rafters, and they had to wait there until they could swim out. And my brother here, he had to swim out of his cabin.
The flood started getting bigger, and it was going up to, we have bunk beds in our cabins, and it was going up to the top bunk, and we had one choice, and we had to swim out of our cabins.
What time was it? Was this
It was like we woke up at 2.
Yeah, we had to wake up at like 4 a.m. But on the way here, we saw all of like the other camps destroyed, like obliterated.
And where were? And can you tell me how'd you guys get out of there? Did they put you guys on buses, or did you have to wait?
Yeah, we had to get on a bus.
Yes, we had to get on a bus. We were in other cabins for like cabins on hills for about 17 hours.
We hosted a cabin.
Buses get here, and it was not fun.
Crazy. Oh, this was the Coast Guard too. Yeah, let's check it out here.
Seth Reeves, Lieutenant Blair Ogujifor, and AST3 Scott Ruskin. Thank you all so much for joining us and for helping out in this mission to find these 23 young little girls and the families who are also impacted by the storm. So, Lieutenant Hopper, I'll start with you. How is the Coast Guard responding to this flood in Texas right now?
Good morning. Yeah, so primarily we're using our helicopter assets. So the MH-65 Echo is primarily a maritime search and rescue asset. So we're used to going offshore. But right now we're using it for inland search and rescue. So operating using our hoist capability or just landing and picking people up and transiting them in the MH-65 Dolphin.
So I don't know who's best to answer this question, but...
All right, we now want to focus on the rest.
MH-65, so operating using our hoist capability or just landing and picking people up and transiting them in the MH-65 Dolphin.
So I don't know who's best to answer this question, but you all figure that out. You know, obviously you look at the video, you see these incredible floodwaters, you see the incredible efforts to rescue people, and hundreds of people have been rescued. What are the additional complications that you all have to deal with, that you have to you know, obviously you have a lot of people who want, you know, civilians who want to help out, but you know, you don't want them to get in the way. What are the additional complications that you want to kind of warn civilians about not getting in your way?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of different complications. Primarily, a lot of civilians are where we were all operating on the same frequency when we were flying. Additional complications would be so Scott here. He's our rescue swimmer, and he you can explain a little bit.
Kind of what was going on the ground. Yeah. A lot of times what was happening is, everyone wants to do as much as they can to help out, and we truly appreciate that. But sometimes they don't always have the best communication. So biggest thing is just trying to pass stuff off to the higher level of care, pass it up the food chain about who's where, who needs help. And then you can get, you know, like a government agency out there to try to help you out as fast as we can. And then we can triage from there and kind of get people to safety. But most important thing is staying out of the river, super dangerous. And keep yourself safe before you put yourself in a more dangerous situation.
When we look at this current scenario with nearly 24 young girls that are missing, what scenario exists that they can be found alive? Have they, you know, could they have just been swept away and are, you know, hanging onto a tree? Is there any scenario you see where they can be found alive?
You know, that's of course that's a hard question to answer, but ultimately there's multiple assets, crews out there, both Coast Guard. You've got the Army out there. You've got DPS, the Department of Public Safety for Texas. So we're giving everyone the best chance that they've got, and really working as a team in Texas here to give anyone who's still out there the best shot.
Yeah, Lieutenant Ogujifor, anybody else, you could chime in with stories as well if you've heard them. But what are some of the stories that people are telling you who you have rescued? What are they saying about their experience?
So personally, I haven't been able to speak with anyone. I know we landed yesterday, and then we also had to take the new crews out to give them a FAM flight of the area. But some of our crews that stayed back, they did get to see a couple of the girls that we actually took in our aircraft. You know, reunited with their families. So I know, and the folks at the hotel too, they had a mother who approached them and was like, "Thank you so much. My daughter is alive because you guys were able to assist her today. So, I mean, I can only imagine that they're grateful. When we were picking up folks, have, young girls.
All right. So that was
And if we could take a look over here, closer to this field area, if you want to take a walk with me, you could see, Jerry, this area. What was this usually like over here?
Well, that was just what they call the Preservation Society, and they always had our Sunday Easter service was down here at this little pavilion, and that was usually just a lot for parking, and when Hunt had their 100-year deal or whatever here a while back, they had a big park out there, and I mean, it was just kind of for everybody to use, what it was, so.
And I could see from over here, you see a car that's completely flipped over and totaled. I mean, just looking at that wasn't there before.
No, it was in this driveway right over here.
So that just goes to show how aggressive this floodwater was coming through Hunt.
Oh, yeah, it had to be coming through here 90 miles an hour. When I came down here at about 4 o'clock, right up there about where that sign is at a gate or whatever, right through there, that's as far as I could come. The water was coming through here, that deep, and I couldn't even cross it in that buggy.
Now, Jerry, I did speak to another resident that said, I'm just packing up. I'm getting out of here. Where do you start from here after rebuilding? How do you start? Where do you go from here?
Church.
Yeah, and there's just a lot of, resources that are going to be needed for this.
Oh, yeah. Well, they've had the Methodist Church open over here for their, what do they call it, the base camp or whatever, and that's where I went over there to see if they needed anything, but there's nobody there now, so I guess everybody wants the shoemaker open, people could get out, and they've got plenty of water and food and stuff all already stacked over there, so hopefully they're all right, but it's gonna take a year or 2 or 3 for this thing to actually get back to the way it was,
That Taylor got a little earlier. And just one thing before we get to David M in Roadcam, we've heard from so many people, including Governor Abbott last night, including all of the Kerr County officials over the last 2 days. Every time they say, what do you guys need? They just need prayers. They need everybody's thoughts, prayers, support as they go through one of the hardest times that they've gone through in the history of that county. So I think it's very telling that they're not asking for food, they're not asking for water, they're not asking for help with shelter, they're not asking for help finding people. They're asking for your faith and your humanity to just bring the good vibes towards Kerr County and to Kerrville.
I mean, and it's almost a plea even, because this is something that's always discussed in these natural disaster situations where people get a little bit kind of disappointed when it's a kind of a general statement that kind of doesn't seem to have much heart when people say thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. This is another step where they're saying, please get down on your knees and pray.
Yeah.
Because that is the current situation. Again, 27 children still missing, hopefully will be found. Clinging to trees is one of the...
So the United Cajun Navy has joined in the efforts, I think, to help out. I believe. Seems like it. Connectivity is everything. United Cajun Navy is using lessons learned after Hurricane Helene with rescue efforts in Texas. I think also Nick Shorter, he was out there. I guess he's from Texas. They're working on getting Starlink out there. Let me see right here. I think they got Starlink out there to get some connectivity going for people. Starlink. Getting people connected to be able to communicate. Starlink setup. You sent me an email.
Taylor has talked to
Check
today,
it out.
and you see all of that stuff. So
Yeah.
we have. I just thought that was an interesting thing because that's a common theme that we hear so often here throughout this coverage. But we do want to get to David Mendoza, who is out in Storm Tracker. And David, where are you at right now?
Hey, how's it going, Matt? So I'm on 281 South in Hildebrand. I had the chance to kind of follow that storm up on North 281. It was pretty quick, but it was very, very heavy. I had the chance to drive.
So Pro Gem sent an email and said, for those people that are saying authorities should have done, what authorities should have done before the floods came, remember this. I lived in Miami during the Hurricane Andrew, and we knew it was a Category 5 storm. We were told by the news and National Weather Service that the strongest part of the storm was supposed to hit north of Miami. So for those people in Texas saying that Texas officials should have moved people, they very well could have moved them into a more dangerous place. Thank you.
There was a lot of red, which means there's going to be a lot of rain coming through that area. But as it has gotten
see what's going on here.
Out the state and let people know where they're heading, what's going on, and how they're going to get there throughout the day. And so that's what's happening throughout the state, not only inside those tents there, but inside this event center where the press conferences happen. And so that's what we've been seeing all day long, inside and outside this event center.
Oh, the Blue Rain video? I have that video.
Where other things have been going on throughout the morning. This command center that we uncovered outside. What we did learn from the press conference is, as of 8:55 this morning, this 10 a.m. press conference is, more than 850 people were evacuated uninjured. Gratefully, that number really climbed, and that is the great news here. 8 people were injured and had to be treated either at the hospital.
Ryan Hall, y'all tweeted out, I'm devastated by what's happening in Texas. Texas Hill Country just experienced a historic flood disaster. Guadalupe River rose 26 feet in 45 minutes. 237 people rescued, 167 by helicopter, 25 fatalities confirmed. This is being called a once-in-a-lifetime flood event. Once in a lifetime.
People from Camp Mystic are still unaccounted for. Doesn't mean that they are all children, though. There could be camp counselors, other people who are adults that are associated with that camp, but a lot of them you could probably presume are children, and that is the sad part of all of this. We're talking 27 people associated with Camp Mystic still unaccounted for. Something else they told us about this operation that's been going on. Excuse me, I have to go to my notes here because there's so many moving parts in this press conference. Is that around 8 this morning, they told us, is that it was called a boots on the ground search. And it started in Hunt, Texas, and it's stretching more than 17 kilometers here. And as that was going on, you could still see, and we're seeing them, as Texas DPS helicopters that were flying overhead. There was a little bit of fog in the area, so they stopped them for a little bit, but they're still back up. We saw DPS helicopters. This is where they're landing. There's nobody in these helicopters. It's just kind of where they're landing, a landing spot for them. And as they come back up in the air, they're still trying to search for survivors. And
yeah, ICU says that let me see here, the family of Leila Bonner, I remember that name from yesterday, has confirmed to NBC that in Dallas Fort Worth that she has tragically died in the Texas flood. She was one of the missing girls from Camp Mystic. The 3rd child fatality confirmed. Damn.
Have a listen.
Christina, we're going to work on getting that sound for you. I did want to ask you, so at the press conference last night, the Kerr County Sheriff said that they had a number of people missing in Kerr County, and then he mentioned that they had also recovered one body in Kendall County, but they weren't sure if it was related to this flood situation. Did they address that at the press conference this morning? Do we have any confirmation that that person is connected to this?
No, in fact, they said everything was still active and ongoing. Basically, we tried to get a lot of details about maybe deciphering who everyone was, maybe a list of names, since we had on social media so many faces and phone numbers. And is this my child is missing, please help me with a phone number, a list of a name of a person or a child, or this person's missing, that person. And they said absolutely not. We're not going to list a name. We're not going to give you a list of names, people to decipher who might be who. So maybe we could check them off a list of people that we have, because as you know, we have family members calling us. We have relatives calling us. Do you know, have they found, can you ask for us this person, can you ask about this, did they see this, this kind of thing. And they said absolutely not. We're not listing a group of names. So as you can imagine, the JP or any medical examiner or anybody in these surrounding areas are overwhelmed. 27 bodies. Can you imagine trying to identify them? Some are they haven't identified them yet. So they're simply overwhelmed right now. They are not going to make that list known right now to people. So as far as the one in Kendall County, to answer your question, still unclear, uncertain, because they're not even certain about the ones here right now. And they don't want to list that information out to us right now. They are just wanting to make sure that the families have their grieving time, is what they told me on the podium. And I really wasn't trying to be rude or crude about it. I just wanted a clear answer and a bigger picture for everybody so that we could get those answers out to the families who were contacting us and all the information that we were seeing on social media. I was trying to get those answers for all the calls that we were fielding. We're getting those calls and those emails to people.
We go here.
Be able to watch this rescue operator splash through, but I also don't know what's happening up the road or where this guy is going, because at this point that is just a puddle, and maybe it was something far more significant just a little bit ago. But obviously he's still responding in code 3 to a situation. Matt?
That's River Road.
We are following some more.
They closed down River Road just a little bit earlier. We saw on their Facebook page up in New Braunfels. They said if you live near the river, don't wait for conditions to worsen. Move to higher ground now. Stay tuned, Bob, and whatnot after that. But that was at about 11:15. They closed down River Road, and that's where Ethan is now.
Okay, so most likely that water was far deeper just a little bit ago. And it kind of makes me wonder how that car right there is now on the other side of the barrier, and the police are probably wondering the same thing. That car that's parked there, because it looks like the road's shut down. But hopefully the water's going down. It kind of looks like it is at this point. The heavy rainfall in San Antonio, there's still pockets of it, but it is not nearly like it was. Do we have Ethan Trejo available? Is he? He's not currently available. Okay. So we've got some minor flooding in spots. I guarantee you there are other areas that have it worse than that. As far as any water rescues go, a lot of times we're able to see if there are any, and I do not have any reported water rescues. Bearflood.org, I don't know if you guys want to run that through Scan Converter or not. We can kind of see what Bear Flood is showing right now, if there are any road closures or waterways. But the
camera, I'm just going to do like a...
What are you doing? Yeah, just disappeared. Touched the camera and disappeared.
Was explaining before, when we're in these times of drought, we kind of forget that we are prone to flooding in our area, but this has happened. I mean, think about the Wimberley floods.
I thought about that one yesterday.
So, but we are going to have updates throughout the morning, and we've also learned that Texas Governor Greg Abbott headed to Kerrville along with Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and other state officials to provide an update on those deadly floods. That's happening at 2:30 this afternoon.
And that will take place at the Hill Country Youth Event Center. Our Myra Arthur will be there to cover that event. And of course, we will be bringing you that live as we continue our coverage of the deadly flooding out there in the Hill Country. And again, just want to remind our folks
North
of
Austin
some of these.
Street for those in need during the flooding event that is now open.
Ethan, you are, I believe, in New Braunfels. Tell us what you're seeing out there.
Yeah, Marisa, Jordan, I did make it to New Braunfels. This is what River Road looks like right now. Deputies won't let us really pass this line. They are trying to evacuate people along this stretch of road, River Road, and you can see cars have been making their way out slowly but surely. I also did just a few minutes ago see multiple fire and EMT trucks head into the area, one with a boat. They are assumedly doing some water rescues later or farther in on this road. And then I did see one EMT truck speed out, presumably with a person inside in need of medical treatment. Now, from what we see so far, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of... It's probably a little bit further like I said, we did see the EMT trucks go in just a bit. The city of New Braunfels did close the Comal River a little bit earlier today. This right here is a stretch of the Guadalupe River, but you can hear those sirens back on again. I believe that's
missing.
just
Husband swept away.
someone trying to get to their home.
Pull over.
Here in New Braunfels,
you can't go.
Deputies are making sure that nobody can get through. So to try and protect as many people as they can, I'm going to send it back to you guys.
Ethan, before you go, give us some perspective of, so you're on River Road in New Braunfels. Is this a main pass-through for folks? Where in relation to New Braunfels City proper? So folks can get an idea
absolutely.
of how important this road
as
is
far
in
as
the city.
downtown New Braunfels, this is going to be a little bit more north. It's right along the Guadalupe River, a little bit towards Green, actually. Green is very close to this road here. This stretch of road reaches all the way to the Guadalupe River, which connects to Green. So just a little bit north of New Braunfels downtown, northeast, in that area.
Okay.
And let that video that you just showed be a reminder. If you drive through the water like that, you could potentially get pulled over. You are not supposed to do that.
The person literally drove past the road closure sign.
Yep.
And two New Braunfels police officers.
Yep.
So
could be a misunderstanding.
Wow.
Hopefully they live there and didn't just drive through that. But yeah, I know Ethan will let us know.
Stay safe, Ethan. Thank you. We'll check in.
So they've confirmed, if you just joined, if you guys could help me out with the like button, please, I'd appreciate that, or the share button. Just sign up to the email list. But they're saying that a third death has been confirmed for the Camp Mystic child, which is really sad. And it's just tragic. And it doesn't sound good for all those people that are still missing. You know, I don't know. Hopefully they're clinging on somewhere. I wanted to show this video too. There's this guy that survived, but I guess his wife is missing. Let's check
to address the flooding later tonight. Of course, we'll bring you that on KXAN News at 9 and 10 o'clock. KXAN's Brianna Hollis joins us now in Ingram. Now, this is just northwest of Kerrville. And Brie, we know dozens of water rescues have taken place across the county. You have the story of one of those tonight, right?
Yeah, Jen, and honestly, it was a really heartbreaking interview. My heart goes out to this man and his entire family. He says he was camping with his wife just upstream from where we are when the floodwaters took him away, and he is still looking for his wife, and he is unfortunately just one of so many people in this position tonight.
Woke up about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and there was just torrential river coming through the campground.
We met Brian Eads at Ingram Elementary School, the site of the unification center for people trying to find friends and family last seen in West Kerr County. We spoke with him shortly after we saw medics check him out.
Got my wife up. We tried to make it to my truck. We didn't make it. We were washed away. Got into another truck. He was able to get it started. We made it 20 feet.
As the current rushed in, it became harder to maintain any control.
A fight for survival at that time. Me and my wife got separated. I grabbed a hold of one tree. I was trying to push something for her to float on. I took a tumble in the river. I came back up. And I couldn't see her, I couldn't hear her.
Kerr County officials said they had, quote, every asset available, including state and federal resources, on hand to rescue people like Eads and search for everyone, like his wife, who's unaccounted for.
It's a lot of devastation out here.
Mindy Curran, the interim superintendent of Ingram ISD, headed the reunification center at the elementary school.
They're checking in, letting us know who they're looking for. We're taking all that information and trying to collect that and create a database so that we can help reunite families.
The gym was packed with people looking for answers, with nothing to do but sit and wait as more details emerge in the aftermath of the catastrophic floods.
What would you tell your wife right now?
I love her and I want her to be safe. I know she's strong.
So wife missing. Boy. Oh boy. This guy's driving out in the storm. gonna keep looking at the different feeds. Oh, here it is. This one is audio. Oh, this one's audio. Oh, it's two different ones. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry. So that's the weather out there. It's looking crazy. The latest news is another confirmed death, sadly.
Staple here in the area. I'm with Frank Steifen. Tell me a little bit about this area. I know you were getting emotional just talking about it. You grew up with this store.
I did. Sorry. My dad bought our ranch, which is right down the road, about 3/4 of a mile, in 1967. I grew up at this store. And I used to drive my tractor up here to fill it up with diesel fuel. It's gone. I mean, the buildings here, as you can see, but it's just destroyed. Back here in the back, 3 months ago, my new wife and I were dancing on that dance floor to one of our favorite bands. The post office is gone. My family goes back here to 1890. They've been here over 130 years. The family name was Edwards, and my dad was here for the flood in 1932. The water got higher than it did here, or this flood, but it was downriver. And so this very well may be the worst flood Hunt has ever seen, because it would have started back up the South Fork. The devastation is unbelievable. How these kids survived in any of these camps along the river is nothing short of a miracle. But I did. I grew up with this store. I've like I said, I've danced here. I've been here, sat by the fireplace in a rocking chair and drank a beer. The devastation. There are just no words, Taylor, that I can say that describe what I'm seeing. My ranch, it was completely underwater. The water got that high. Just unbelievable.
And I know we were talking a little bit earlier. This is a small knit community, and everybody knows everybody.
Yes, Hunt is a very small community, and the people here do know each other. The store was more than just a store where you could go to buy staples and a beer or a hamburger or whatever. It was really a social meeting point. It was a lot of fun to come here and eat and have dinner and visit with people.
Yeah, there's you talking about how you just married your wife a month ago, and you're dancing in here, and now just emotional, just seeing what it looks like right now. I mean, there's some deep-rooted memories in this building here for you guys here.
Yeah, there are. We've only been married 6 weeks, so it's new for her, but for me, it's a lifetime. My summers were spent here, living here, and I really, really enjoyed it. Just, it's unbelievable, Taylor. That's all I can say. It's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, just no words at this time. I mean, your post office, where do you guys go right at this time? How do you rebuild from this?
It's going to take a long time. I mean, this community is resilient. They will rebuild. It's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be short. But, this will rebuild, and all of this trash will be gone, and the camps will hopefully rebuild and be a place where children can grow up.
Now, Frank, where were you when you first knew that those floodwaters are coming through?
I was living in my house in Kerrville. We live in the Highlands, so we're way, way high. But the storms, it started raining. We were at Howdy's dancing Thursday night, which is where they were doing live rescues, people out of trees. We left there at 10:15. It started raining at 10:45 because we were coming out of HEB. And about 1:30, the storms woke me up, and I was up the rest of the night. It was raining at my house probably 2.5 inches an hour. And it just kept coming. I knew it was going to be bad. About 4 o'clock, they started warning people of rises. At first one I saw was like 21 feet, and then it was 24.5 feet, and then it was like 27 feet. And I think we topped out here at 34.1 or something like that. But it didn't quit raining in Kerrville at our house till 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, you said you knew it was going to be bad, but you just didn't know the extent of what it actually became.
I knew it was going to be bad. I had no idea it was going to be this bad.
Now, were you seeing the alerts on your phone about the flash flood warning and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. My phone was going off several times, flash flood emergency. And I woke Marcella up at early that morning, and I said, honey, we need, and I tried to get to my ranch, couldn't. Water was completely over the highway. Tried yet last night, couldn't. So this morning, we got up at 7 and first daylight came out.
Now, Frank, I want to take our viewers over to the area where we can actually see inside the Hunt store. I mean, I want you to paint a picture of kind of what it did look like before all the debris kind of swept through this area, because it looks completely different.
I've got a souvenir for you to take home.
Surely.
What's that?
Roy Bowen, who's local here, raw honey.
He's got raw honey that survived this area?
Yeah.
So that is
sure
so
that's raw
awesome.
honey?
Thank you so
You're
much.
so sweet anyway.
Thank you so much.
He over here making
We're going to go
moves.
over to where Frank is.
Well, and
so
you
sweet
can't
anyway.
see now really, but right back in here, right over here was the cashier's stand. And then this all in here was where they had the staples. You could buy chips, beers, they had a cooler back there. Over here you can see the fireplace. In the wintertime, they would light a fire, and people could come in and have a beer and sit around the fireplace and chat. Back this way was the restaurant. There used to be a bank right in here. It's now it was an ice cream stand, but they had great burgers and steaks, and it was just like I said, it was a meeting place. But as I look in here now, the devastation's
What
beyond
happened?
anything
Yeah,
I
it's
can say.
trashed.
I mean,
Place is trashed
this
inside.
is how the rocks withstood it and these posts withstood it is a miracle, because I've seen posts and everything bigger here this morning that did not withstand the flood.
Yeah, Frank, if we go further up to the front of it, I know you were talking about earlier.
There's a better view of this.
Where the building did not withstand, and it kind of crushed through the front of the building. The bricks are completely gone here. So if you take a look, you can see which once was.
Yeah.
boarded up is now.
This was all, this wall, you know, here's the fireplace I was talking about.
And then you also had a gas station that was right here
the gas
too as well.
pumps were here. You can see they're destroyed. But if you came around to the back side right over here, they had a diesel pump. And I could fill my tractor.
So yeah, this used to be boarded up, and now you can clearly see right in through the Hunt store. I'm gonna get you a closer view of this. Now, Frank, how does this make you feel, just being able to stand inside here? Is this where you danced with your wife?
The wife was back on the outside porch. It was where we danced. So this was all, you know, chips and jerky and, you know, foods and finger foods and.
But none of this stuff here, you know, is not.
No. This was actually inside the store. You could buy bottle. There was a wine, like right about here, wasn't it? There was a wine rack. Wine rack was right here. You could buy some excellent wines. And again, in the wintertime, fireplace, you know, was kind of a gathering point. And but like we were talking about earlier, Taylor, this is a very, very small, tight-knit community. And
just emotional. You just get emotional just looking at this and seeing what it once was and now what it looks like today.
You do. I thank God that people survived it, that we're here to talk about this. What those kids went through and adults along the South Fork of the Guadalupe River, I'll be honest with you, I can't imagine.
You just see how aggressive this floodwater swept through this area. I mean, you were talking earlier about your cattle and how you've lost the barrels, was it?
Well, no, the cattle were, we lease our property and some people here local to the community run some head out there. There were no cattle on the property. There were 62 round bales of hay because they just cut. And each one of those bales weighs about 950 pounds. They're all gone. All 62 bales are gone.
Yeah, it just goes to show again how aggressive those flood waters were.
The water was.
Absolutely. Well, you heard it from Frank here. The community here in Hunt is completely resilient. You know, it's an emotional state right now.
And that was Taylor Whartonby from earlier this morning where she was in Hunt. Now she has traveled a few miles up to Camp Mystic. She's made it to just the front of it. Taylor, can you hear us and what can you...
She's not ready yet, but we can give you some context. So you're going to hear about Camp Mystic a lot, especially in the press conference later today. It's been kind of the center of concern. There's a lot of camps along the Guadalupe River. That one specifically is along the Guadalupe, but it's not as close as you might think. This water crested so high. Camp Mystic is actually a few football fields away from the Guadalupe River, but was still so impacted by this flooding. In the press conference this morning, we learned that about 27 people are still missing specifically from Camp Mystic. Those are the only really firm details we have on the number of people missing. There have been people rescued. We were told this morning there were 4 campers waiting to be reunited with their parents. And these camps are a really big deal in Texas. Parents across the state, sometimes across the nation, will send their children here for a few weeks. This is a Christian sleepover camp. You do classes like canoeing, horseback riding, arts and crafts. It's girls only, and it's unplugged. So no phones. So this has been kind of the center of the attention here in searching for people. And the roads had been washed out leading up to today.
Yeah, there's just one road in and out of Camp Mystic. We were told by Taylor earlier this morning that they were trying to clear debris from one side of the road, so at least the emergency crews can get in and out that way. Let's go to Taylor right now. She is literally in front of Camp Mystic to give us an update on what she is seeing and what she is learning being out there. Hi, Taylor.
closer to the Hunt store, but we traveled up here, see how far we can get to Camp Mystic. Getting through here was pretty tough. Like you said, there's one road in, one road out, and the roads are not in good conditions right now. Some of the roads have come up a little bit. There were some of those boulders that we were seeing earlier in the middle, not in the middle, but on the side of the road. So that just goes to show again how strong these floodwaters were. A lot of debris. When you're looking out near the Guadalupe River, I've seen a mattress hanging onto branches, blankets, just a lot of different random items just all scattered around from the debris. So we traveled up here. This is as close as we could get to Camp Mystic. As you can see, this is across the Guadalupe River. We did go further up to see where the entrance was. We were met with some first responders where we weren't able to get any closer, so we turned around just to get a shot of this, where you could see ahead, you could see the campsite. I do want to mention what really stands out is this building right here, where you can see clearly straight through it. The whole front is clearly just torn apart, and again, you can see right through it. You see people still driving trucks in the area. We've seen a few people walking around the campsite. I do want to mention that I've seen some people that are doing searches down below near the Guadalupe River here. And then we were talking to another person that knows this area. They say usually you can't see through here. You can't see through the campsite because of these trees are so tall. But now you can see clearly. That just it's because all the trees are either knocked down or just lying flat. If you take a look over here, you can see just the damages that have occurred from this storm and the floodwater that took over this area. Again, a lot of debris is still on this area. We did hear some helicopter. We heard a helicopter above us as well as a drone. And if you take a look over here, you can see some first responders making their way down the road coming through this area. Again, this is Camp Mystic, where over 20 girls are unaccounted for. So this is the latest here that I'm seeing. So we'll keep you updated as I see any new developments here.
Taylor, thank you for that. We are going to go to another reporter from our sister station, KI.
Abigail Velez is standing by the San Gabriel River, where we're told people are being
Thanks
evacuated.
for taking the time
Abigail,
to cover this again today,
it does
iKkEdMeL.
look like the water is very
Thoughts
high
and
behind you
prayers
right
to
now.
all involved.
Appreciate that. Appreciate the support. Thank you.
Yeah, the level of the San Gabriel River has risen to an alarming rate. That's what county officials are telling me.
Yeah,
for some context, we're in the heart of Georgetown. This is the main artery. We're off of I-35 at North Austin Avenue, where that bridge has been blocked off, and you can see exactly why. This bridge was actually under renovation, but since has been taken out by this catastrophic flooding that we've seen here in Williamson County. This has all happened within a matter of hours.
Did they use
Williamson
thermal
County
image
officials
Inglewoods
have
this
issued
night?
a disaster declaration, and that's so they can get local, state, and even federal resources to come and respond to this. Infrastructure is the main threat. We have seen buildings and homes that have been underwater within this massive flash flooding at the San Gabriel River. We have seen roofs been taken out, and I have to say that this water is powerful. It's rushing downstream, and it has really brought out a ton of onlookers actually shocked. We've talked to people in the area who say they have not seen something like this in recent years. It really is alarming for them. Several places around the San Gabriel River have evacuated, like you said. We're talking about some apartment complexes, and that was out of an abundance of caution. Of course, this is suggested. It's not a mandatory evacuation, but some people have told me with everything going on in the Texas Hill Country, they really want to err on the side of caution. Some structures have also been evacuated alongside the San Gabriel River. That includes the Georgetown Animal Shelter that has already cleared evacuation. But everything here at the North Austin Avenue Bridge, again, is closed off. We know that Georgetown Police has blocked off entrances and exits to make sure that pedestrians and drivers are not putting themselves in harm's way, because Williamson County officials say that this water and this flooding is unexpected, and it really can sweep anyone or anything in its path. We've seen a lot of debris, whether that be trees, kayaks. We've also seen wildlife get swept up in this floodwater, so it is, again, extremely alarming. But we do know with that disaster declaration in place that this is an all hands on deck type of effort. We know that local and county resources are on standby. We've seen search and rescue teams ready to be deployed, but they are urging pedestrians and onlookers to stay on the sides that are protected, because we know that, of course, it's unexpected and these waves can come bursting out. I want to give you a closer look at exactly what's happening right behind me. Again, the North Austin Avenue Bridge was under construction, but a lot of that debris, a lot of that construction that was taking place prior to this flooding has since been rushed off in this floodwater. And we've seen a lot of that wood, that paneling, and a lot of that tin that's holding up this construction structure be taken off in this floodwater. The rain here is not intense. It's just a little bit of a sprinkle, which is good news. However, we do know that this entire area, this county, is under a flash flood watch until 3 p.m. A lot of people, again, are on standby, ready to evacuate this area. But for now, it's drawing a lot of interest because this is an area that people in Georgetown frequent. It's filled with shops for a lot of people. Again, this is a staple of the city. It really is the heart and the main artery of Georgetown and in Williamson County. Several roads have been closed off by Williamson County officials. A lot of them are along the San Gabriel River, which includes RV parks. Some RV parks have already been swept up by this floodwaters and, of course, the river level rising. But again, we are monitoring the situation. We are expecting to speak with Williamson County officials within the next few moments. I'm providing updates online and, of course, on air. But for now, here's a look at what's happening in Williamson County. We do expect flash flooding to roll through the area in a short amount of time. But for now, officials are saying if you do not have to be on the roads, stay home. We don't want to see any injuries or casualties out of this flooding. Thankfully, we have no reports of that so far. But we know that evacuations are in place. Again, not mandatory, but absolutely suggested. And again, with everything happening in the Texas Hill Country, people are heeding that suggestion, making sure that they're getting out of the way, especially with the San Gabriel River level rising. But I'll throw it back to you in the studio.
Abigail, thank you for that update. It looks incredible, that river right behind you. Give us some perspective of just how close Georgetown is to Austin for folks who don't really know. Give us perspective of the distance between the two cities.
Absolutely. Georgetown is extremely close to Austin. Oftentimes people in Austin will take a daycation to Georgetown because it's just about 30 minutes north. So it's extremely close. This is a suburban area, and it's not a big town. It's quite small and compact, and it's one of those towns where everyone knows someone. So again, a lot of people are drawn out to this area here at the San Gabriel River because there's a lot of patios here. There's restaurants on the river. This is a part of town where people like to sit and be by the water. And this is a holiday weekend. A lot of people are traveling in, whether that be from Austin, like you said. I've talked to people from Houston, from Dallas, getting out of the high city area and coming to a suburban area in Texas. And so it's drawn out a lot of visitors, but this is really unexpected. They did not expect this rain to come in. I've talked to people who are visiting from those huge metropolitan areas, like I mentioned, and they said we were actually coming here to make sure that we weren't in something that was a chaotic situation, and they ended up here with, of course, this intense flooding. But we are quite close to Austin. We know that visitors are here, along with residents and locals who have been here their entire lives, who say, we haven't seen something like this, and if we have, we don't remember, because that's how intense this is right now. Again, I think what's most alarming is the amount of wildlife debris and roofs that we've seen running through the river. But again, all resources are on deck, ready to help people that may be in a situation of danger right now.
Abigail, before you go, clearly this is something that's drawing a lot of interest. Looking at the crowds of people behind you, when your photographer panned over, there were people kind of going down what might have been a walkway toward the water. What is the law enforcement presence like out there? Because this river looks very close to full, especially near that bridge.
Exactly, and it really is an alarming situation. At one point, we were at a pedestrian walkway very close to the San Gabriel River, and you would not have been able to tell that it was a pedestrian walkway because it was submerged underwater. A law enforcement presence is obviously visible, and they're on alert, but I have to say they're allowing the residents here to get a good look at the San Gabriel River because this is quite historic. A lot of people can't remember the last time this happened, so I think police are giving some leeway for people to take pictures and inform their loved ones, but of course they're not letting people still be in a situation where they're in harm's way or get swept up by a wave. What I mean by that is because the river is flowing so intensely downstream, at points it's creating waves that will come up to pedestrian walkways, and it could actually get people's feet. And when that happens, you can see police say, okay, you have to back it up a little bit. But for now, understandably, they're allowing people to see what is happening before it gets any more intense. But for now, those evacuations are underway. But again, they're allowing people to get as close as possible while being safe to inform their loved ones and to get a glimpse at this historic flooding that's happening in Georgetown today.
All right. Wow. Abigail Velez, thank you so much for that report. Very informative. Let's go to Jeanette Calle, our meteorologist. Jeanette, that seems to be the same storm system that was over New Braunfels.
Yes. So I want to point out that the big storm, that big piece of energy, the center of it has stayed just to the north of our viewing area. That's the storm system that was just north of Kerr County Thursday night into yesterday morning. And that storm system then ended up shifting a little farther to the east throughout the night last night. Now, there were very impressive rainfall amounts, flash flood emergencies, life-threatening flooding going on around the Burnett area closer to Marble Falls. So I've seen rainfall totals there upwards of 12 to 15 inches, just like what we saw in central Kerr County. Now, in our viewing area, I can say that the rain is no longer very heavy. I'm not noticing any extreme rainfall rates like what we saw earlier, but you can see live power Doppler radar, a good area of San Antonio and Bexar County picking up some steady light to moderate rain. To help you understand radar, in the green, that's light rain, but once you start to see the brighter colors, that's heavier rain. This is what I call more moderate rain right now from Castle Hills to Alamo Heights down towards the heart of the city and east into China Grove and north of Elmendorf. Far northern Bexar County areas that did see some heavy storms earlier, such as Timberwood Park, Stone Oak area, seeing a little break from the rain. Now, I do want to show you how in Comal County, there is a heavier downpour that has developed between Canyon Lake and New Braunfels. There are flash flood warnings that continue. This one that includes New Braunfels. I believe that runs until 3 o'clock this afternoon. This one until 2. 1:30. It looks like they just that just expired. They're issuing a new one. Let me step off here so I can see. It looks like they are most likely extending that flash flood warning. So I see it blinking there. Let's see what time that has now been extended. So flash flood warning, which includes New Braunfels and over towards Green and near Canyon Lake as well. There is a flash flood warning, so that actually remains in effect until 2 o'clock. So it's just a reminder. This area has picked up 2 to 6 inches of rain, and within the next half an hour could see another half an inch to an inch plus. South from there, the flash flood warning has been extended until 4. That includes areas farther to the south and west of New Braunfels, and then the one that includes far northern Bexar County, that flash flood warning is set to expire at 3 o'clock this afternoon. No major flooding expected here in San Antonio or Bexar County. However, there could be some minor flooding. Roads are certainly wet. There's only one low water crossing that is closed due to according to bearflood.org. That is Smithson Valley Road at Cibolo Creek. There's some high water reported there from a heavier thunderstorm that hit that area earlier. But you can see just that steady rain that's coming across San Antonio and Bexar County.
So some things I wanted to show you guys. First of all, let's do this. There's this father of missing girls searches for daughter. Let's see what this is here.
Has died, and also confirmed killed Jane Ragsdale. She was director at another girls' camp, Heart of the Hills, which was not in session at the time. Ragsdale is described as the heart and soul of that camp.
In Texas, we were surveying some areas that were heavily damaged, and from just beyond this ledge that went down in toward the edge of the river, we heard a man calling out Joyce Catherine. Joyce Catherine happened several times, and we kind of followed the voice, and that's where we met Ty Baden. He is a father of 21-year-old Joyce Catherine Baden. His daughter had come out here to spend the July 4th weekend with 3 other friends at a home just along the river. And they lost contact with the group around 4 a.m. early Friday morning. Ty Baden has spent the morning walking. By the time we met him, he'd already walked along about a mile, had come across the body of another young victim and called it in to 911. And this is a father desperately searching for his 21-year-old daughter in hopes that he would stumble upon a miracle. Your daughter was here with 2 friends?
Yeah, 3.
3 friends?
You know, and
so it was 4 of them?
Correct. And she and the young man, they went to elementary school and high school together, and the young, one of her friends, Ella Cahill, that's her boyfriend, Aiden is, they went to school through high school, so they've known each other a long time. The other girl, her name is Reese. I can't remember her last name right now. She is Ella's roommate at UTSA, so we've never met her or her parents, but God bless her, and we pray that all 4 of them are still alive.
All 4 are missing?
Yes, they're all missing, and you know, it's been 4 o'clock yesterday morning that we were told that, you know, they were on the phone with Aiden's dad, who they own the house where they were. It was a very nice house, and no longer there. And Aiden said, "Hey, you know, I've got to go. I got to help Ella and Reese." So he gave the phone to Joyce Catherine. Joyce Catherine said they just got washed away. And then a few seconds later, the phone went dead, and that's all we know. So we presume that she got washed away as well. Wow. And if you go back to where the house is, it's not a good sign. And that's what I was telling you. My son and I were walking, and I thought it was a mannequin. It was a little boy, about 8 or 10 years old, and he was dead. So we just...
You saw that this morning?
Yes. So we're just walking and doing the same thing we were doing. Look, you know, when we stumbled across him. But hopefully we can find our children, our daughter and her friends, alive. So, anyway, I ask you if you would pray, and whoever watches this thing, pray. We got together and picked up our son and came over here, and we waited around at a center. And God bless them, they're doing a great job. It's in Ingram, Texas, at the elementary school, and they're kind of like the place where all the survivors are brought. And we were hoping that we would hear our daughter and friends' names called, but they never did call. So we said, this morning we're going to come out and try to find them ourselves.
I mean, you're walking through this mess, hoping for a miracle.
Amen. Keep the faith. That's all we can do. So that's all I got, Ed. Thank you.
Can you tell us about your daughter?
Yes, she's a beautiful girl, and I think I sent you a picture. Just a wonderful girl. Couldn't ask for a better daughter. All through school, it's just easy, you know, no shenanigans or anything like that. I mean, she was a normal girl. We would have fun, but yes, we loved her dearly.
And Frederico, what I found gut-wrenching was as we were winding down the interview there, as he continued the search, he told me about how he read a book years ago about a father during World War II whose child had been in a house that had been bombed, and that the father spent days and days combing through the rubble trying to search for his son and never gave up. And after days of combing through the rubble, that the man during World War II found his kid. And he just told me, he goes, I hope I'm that guy today. And that's
crazy. Let me show you guys this image too. Images to show the devastation of Camp Mystic, private Christian summer camp for girls located in Guadalupe River. This is, wow. Let me show you. This is the inside of the camp. Let me get the picture up here. Oh, of course, this thing doesn't never load up properly. Hold on one second. Photoshop opened. Look at that. Whoa. Wow. That is just pretty bad. And like the one with the girls that were, I guess some people said it was swept away, the cabin with the girls in it. Wow. I think there's some other images too. Oh yeah, here's some more pictures. Give me 1 second. Okay, this is the outside area. One of the. And they said that this wasn't like right by the one reporter said it was a couple football fields away from the river, but that the river rose. I really wonder what happened to those little girls. The youngest demographic of the girls group is the one that got disappeared.
That's powerful.
Stunning moment as you think about what that poor man and his family are going through today.
I hope he's that guy too. All right, Ed Lavandera, thank you so much. Officials confirming at least 27 people are dead and dozens more are missing following severe flash flooding in Kerr County. An intense rescue effort is underway right now after torrential downpours triggered the flooding along the Guadalupe River, raising the water level more than 20 feet in less than 2 hours. Our CNN affiliate KABB is on the ground in Hunt, Texas, showing us the catastrophic damage at one community store.
I want to walk you through, they didn't want to be on camera, but they walked me through this area and what it did look like. So they said that this was once...
We just saw them on camera, live.
all boarded up. This was all brick.
Maybe it was CNN. They were like, yeah, we're good. Because the other news station, we saw them
now completely opened up. That's just to show how fierce that storm was and how it powered through. I want you to walk with me down here closer so we can get a closer look inside the actual building. You could just see the debris that is completely clinging on to the building. But if you take a closer look here inside, you could just see it is just completely packed in there. Just all the debris that just swept right into the Hunt store here in Hunt. This was a staple, they were telling me. I did speak to the cashier who worked here for many years, and so he saw a lot of residents come into the area. I also want to mention that closer down here, again, there's lots of debris, branches down power lines. What I thought was just devastating, what they told me, was right over here is where the post office once was, if you believe it. I was completely shocked. He said, this is the brick from the post office. And as you can see, it's completely gone at this, it's no longer here. But what we did find was a Cassandra, what's her name tag, which was somewhere further where we first started. It's just, everything is scattered here. It's just devastating, just the amount of destruction this floodwater caused here in Hunt. So we're still speaking with residents here, and I did ask the cashier here about like rebuilding. Where do you go from here? And he says, you just completely take this, you just rebuild from the start, bottom up.
Mm-hmm. And a local resident whose family lived in the area for more than 100 years says he's never seen anything like this.
This very well may be the worst flood Hunt has.
Oh, there he is right there. So those pictures that I was showing, some of those are from Camp Mystic. Now, there was, we're watching the live video of the lady outside. Let me download this picture too. Let me just take a look real quick what we got going on in the other live feeds. Owners of Grape Juice Restaurant.
Even a second thought, it's like we have the food. We're uniquely positioned, not only geographically, but within the community as being kind of a hub for community events to really facilitate the food. And that's what we do. And so going back to we don't need to be out here. All the work that needs to be done needs to happen between these four walls and over the internet or over the phone lines.
The whole thing torn
it's hard.
Apart there.
There's kids, my daughter is 9. She's around the age of these girls. And so it's like, I can't imagine what these parents are going through. And I don't need to, I just need to make sandwiches. If I keep making sandwiches, people can still be fed. If responders are fed, then they can save lives. And that's really the mantra. We've just keep making sandwiches.
Way to contribute and help out.
Well, they are from the Grape Juice Restaurant. That's a restaurant in Kerrville. A lot of folks doing a helping hand to help first responders, survivors, everything. We have a bunch of information on our website, news4sa.com, where people can donate. The Salvation Army is one of them, the Red Cross. So please go visit our website to see how you can help. We're going to regroup and we're going to come back after this short break.
Okay, so there's another video. This video is going viral, and I've been wanting to watch it with you guys. And there's this guy. His name is Jonathan. I will give him a subscribe. Jonathan Petramala. And he says here, sleeping campers swept away in Texas Hill County flash flood. Let's just take a look at some of it.
There's very few concrete pads that even remain. The RVs were swept away, the concrete was swept away. I mean, the little ground is scoured away.
It looks like a hurricane tore through Texas Hill Country.
It does. It really does.
But this storm had no name and no warning.
We realized that the water is rising really fast.
Car horns screamed as vehicles shorted out underwater.
We start banging on everybody's door, getting people out.
If you were lucky, someone banged on your door. If not, this is how you woke up.
Was this like a worst case scenario because it's the holiday?
Absolutely.
Look at that. You see that floating away there? Just take a look right here.
Someone banged on your door. If not, this is how you woke up.
Was this like a worst case scenario because it's the holiday?
Absolutely. They were full. They have 14 reservations missing. I have 6 people missing.
If you didn't get out on time and you were in an RV, this is unsurvivable. Look at this. This RV shredded, wrapped around the tree. There's another one there, and then you can see another one down the river. This whole area was full of RVs, cabins.
Damn, all gone.
Everyone was here for the holiday weekend. This is a really popular area to celebrate the 4th of July. And it's gone.
Everybody lost everything. There were some people that were able to get out, but only in their underwear. With their dogs, nothing else. Nothing.
Just to run. That's crazy. Look at that. This road here. Water kind of overtaking. Wow. Campers reunited.
Or not, the river rapidly rising in the early morning hours, washing away cabins and sadly taking numerous lives along the river. These kids being brought from their camps here to the elementary.
That's crazy. Yeah, we covered these kids yesterday.
Warnings on our phones all the time. It's like the Amber Alert, or you live in Texas, you don't really think much of it, and obviously we were wrong.
This chilling video captures the river rising in real time, each lightning strike illuminating just how fast the water was climbing. Inside London's home, floodwater surged up the staircase, step by step, second by second, until escape was nearly impossible.
We got to the top floor, and it just kept rising and kept rising. And we were getting ready to go on the roof. Like I said, we had tied bed sheets together to bring ourselves to the top. And right before we climbed out, we realized that we were fine. Well, we realized we were fine because the water had obviously started to stop and go down.
Damn, lucky. Devastating, man. Devastating. It's going to be a lot of people struggling. Families that have lost loved ones. Crazy. Oh, this looks like right outside of the camp, actually. This looks like, look at that. Vulture. Is that a vulture? This looks like they're outside of the camp area.
body compositions can all have an effect on hypothermia for those folks who are clinging, waiting to be rescued. So time is of the essence in that regard as well.
Lynna, how much of an impact has the weather had in these operations? I know it was raining yesterday, which was impacting the helicopters. We've seen some showers today. What does that situation look like?
Well, so it's very difficult for us to do certain operations. I mean, you can have your drones out there. We have drones. I know the other teams have drones as well, too. Not all those assets are waterproof, so that kind of takes away our ability to get recon and intel. But because of the constant rain conditions, you are having, potential slip, trips, and falls with us just even trying to put boats into the water and get access to some of these places. And then, of course, because of the constant barrage of water, it's affecting our ability to hit roads and other places to go ahead and rescue folks, which is what our primary objective is. Like, we are a ground and pound team that gets access via vehicles
operations with riverboat.
So it definitely makes it a lot more difficult with the fact that the weather event is still actively going.
All right, let me show you guys this clip. Rawlers posted this. Apparently, Nick Sorter was on the news.
At least 27 people are dead from severe flash flooding, and officials say 27 girls from a summer camp in Kerr County are still missing. Joining me right now is Nick Sorter, who is with the United Cajun Navy, a volunteer group primarily from the Louisiana region, assisting in recoveries and rescues in a variety of natural disasters. Nick is joining us now live from Kerrville, Texas. So, Nick, what have been your observations? How have you all been able to help?
It's devastating out here. I mean, the video, as always, they do it justice. The people have lost everything. If your house was even close to the riverbank, it's gone, swept off the foundation. At this point, we don't know how many people were even home when this happened. If you were home and that happened, you probably got swept down the river. Driving up and down the riverbank, Camp Mystic, several miles down the road here. Obviously, that's what we've been talking about a lot, and that's what we've been focusing a lot of resources on, is finding those missing children. I just got back from Camp Mystic, and I'm telling you, how close that was to the riverbank. There's a cliff on one side, so the camp is trapped in between the cliff and the river. There was nowhere for these kids to go. The buildings were washed out. Just carved out from the inside. If you were inside one of those buildings, if you were a thing or a person inside those buildings, you got washed down the river. And the rescue operations with riverboats, you can see all the debris everywhere in the water route here. Those trees that are in the way, you're constantly chainsaw to try to get down the river. That is hampering relief efforts out here. You can see the clouds, very low clouds, making helicopter rescues difficult as well. I mean, the weather is not cooperating today, and these guys are working hard out here, but it's sad to see. It's really tough.
So, Nick, it sounds like for you and your group, you're spending most of your time just trying to traverse, trying to get from one point to the next. Have you actually been able to, assist in, rescues or recovery, or, has your focus been primarily trying to create paths, for other rescue and recovery workers?
Yeah, so there's several aspects to this, right? So, we have the special operations volunteers that are on the ground now. We had a second wave. The Cajun Navy did come in today with multiple airboats, which are almost you're really not going to get around with anything but an airboat in this water out here. It's too shallow, too much stuff in the way. And then connectivity has been one of the biggest problems out here. Last night, we've been out here nonstop since this started, and overnight, police weren't able to use their radios. They'd hit the button, it would just beep and not do anything. They couldn't communicate with each other. It was, pitch black. Cell phones didn't work, and so we were able to reconnect a lot of them using Starlink systems. Starlink contacted me today, and they said that they're going to be every law enforcement first responder vehicle in Kerr County out here is going to be equipped with a Starlink receiver by today. So a lot of those communication issues are been working out. and the operation is being streamlined in that manner. But that was a huge hang-up overnight.
Wow, so you've been an incredible conduit, to help with the communications, just as one aspect of what you're doing. And then, just looking at some of the videotape that we've been running, I mean, the water is treacherous along many portions of the river. You talk about your airboats. What are you all experiencing with your airboats and what you're able to traverse, and what are the currents like? Talk to me about just kind of the conditions that you've encountered.
Yeah, so the water is receding a little bit, and it's moving slower now than it was this morning, especially. And so there's a lot of first responder activity around here, obviously. But as the water goes down, though, it creates more and more and more obstacles, which, means you're spending tons of time moving those obstacles out of the way. Just to be able to move 100 feet down the river. And luckily, the state of Texas has mobilized dozens of additional airboats that have just gotten here recently from all across the state. Border Patrol is bringing up airboats as well. You have Coast Guard here that's just shown up recently. And so there are a lot of airboats that are being put in in various portions of the water. But also another issue that's being run into is a lot of the boat ramps have been washed away. This current was so strong, it picked up concrete and just ripped it and shoved it down the river. So obviously launching boats at some of these areas is almost impossible. I could sit here all day and name the conditions that are making this more and more difficult for rescuers. And time is precious right now, especially when we're talking about the amount of missing children, these young girls. You see these pictures, and it's horrifying to even think about.
And all of us want to remain optimistic, but based on what you have been seeing, where is your level of optimism?
Look, every minute that goes by, it looks more and more bleak. The number of missing children has not gone down significantly, unfortunately. I believe we're at nine dead, still over 20 missing children. And haven't seen much movement on those numbers today. I know there was, luckily, thank God, there was a rescue from a tree earlier this morning. I don't know if you guys have covered that or not, but 12 miles this girl went downstream and was able to be rescued after grabbing onto a tree. That is nothing short of a miracle. That is a long way in these treacherous waters. You can see how strong these currents were, looking at all the damage all over the place. It's remarkable that she was able to survive that. She beat the odds for sure.
Well, Nick Sorter, you're doing an amazing.
So Nick's out there. We've been talking about it. People in the chat, I don't know what to say. Some people are saying with muds. Oh, this has got to be an old one because the press conference hasn't started yet.
Talked about roads.
Yeah, that's from earlier. There's going to be all kinds of conversation. People are going to disagree. People are going to agree. I've timed some people out, but like my thing is I'm not trying to focus on like censoring or like blocking a bunch of people. If it's nasty, I'll time it out, or we have somebody. But I don't like having a bunch of mods because I've had it in the past. People get blocked. Sometimes people that don't need to be blocked get blocked, and it's just this whole process. I got to find the account, unblock, whatever. So people are going to disagree. I think right now the focus is the search, the missing kids, obviously. Of course, some people are saying Trump and this and that, or blaming this and that. I'm sure it always happens with every event, and that time will come. It is coming, but right now, yeah, there's missing kids. People are finding out their kids are dead. People are hearing all these tragic stories. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people in the chat. That's what's going to happen. It's not going to be a perfect chat. It's not going to be like, it's not going to be like utopia in the chat. You know what I mean? But the time will come. The time will come where I know they're going to look into what was the failures, if any, what could have been done differently, resources. 2 hours ago, it says, this is on CNN, Trump says his administration is working with Texas officials to aid in flood response. We will see. It's just so early into the whole situation. I mean, I know this is kind of, what's this, day 2 really kind of? It's so early into the situation that we're still in the weeds of figuring things out. There's still people missing. There's kids. A bunch of kids missing, young kids, you know? But yeah, I mean, I think I timed out somebody earlier. If you have to block somebody, block them, you know. But just because for example, if somebody comes in there and they disagree with you, that's not a reason to block somebody. Like, I mean, not on my end. You know, if you want to block
I
me,
appreciate your channel.
thanks, man. You see, if somebody's saying something you don't like or whatever, and it's just what are we gonna do, right?
Across this entire area, it's probably about a 17-kilometer stretch. They are going to be in very debris terrain.
But like the other thing too, though, because sometimes some of the stuff is really worth talking about because Peter from Miami, I'm only here for the utopian chat.
I'm only here for the utopian chat.
The topic of weather has come up, and I think it is kind of a valid one. Like I still, we're still in the midst of everything, but like people, weather manipulation and it's conspiracy. I mean, they are cloud seeding, and it's sometimes deemed controversial. They are putting this stuff in the clouds, I guess for drought reasons. There was this video. I don't know if this is real. The blue water people were talking about. Oh, here it is. The blue water. I don't know. Blue rains, cloud seeding. I don't know. I've never heard of blue rain before. I'd have to look it up. This thing, what's going on?
Seen an unknown number, but at least 27 here. They're scared.
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think that's a question that we definitely need to answer at some point in time. Right now, our focus is on the search and rescue efforts, making sure that we get these families out, get some closure, where we can. And so I think.
Tippia said, I was here when there were mods. I've been here since Gabby and I like it better without mods, even with the stupidity in the chat. Honestly, the problem is, too, like, I don't know what it is. The mod thing gets to some people's head, believe it or not. And so you see all kinds of stuff, people being blocked, people being timed out. Sometimes it's valid, sometimes it's not. It's just like, it's just so much drama, honestly. I'm more at peace. With less mods, I'm more at peace. I don't have to deal with shit.
Island of land, where are they?
Typically rescues, if we do find them, they're going to be in trees or we find them, either on high ground. Again, most of the rescues that we are having at this point in time are other camps. So we have a lot of camps and they are all accounted for, but they are isolated because of road damage. So we know where they're at. We're getting them food, water, resources, and now it's a matter of just getting them safely across, low water crossings or other areas to other shelters.
So about the state. We know that there's missing kids, there's pictures and there's names and all this stuff. Are you going to give a list of the names of the kids?
Absolutely not. We are not going to give a list of the names. We want to protect, those families and their information. The other thing I want to point out, and thank you for bringing that up, these families are getting bombarded with spam calls and spam information. So we want to keep the kids' information and these families' names out of any public, light, to give them the opportunity to grieve and to make sure that we give them the best possible resources that we can and get them reconnected as soon as possible. So some of them are, and some of those have been a great help as well. So yes, it is a double-edged sword, but we need to work through it. So.
All right, that was City Manager Dalton Rice from the city of Kerrville. Earlier this morning, about 10:30, giving an update. We expect another update coming your way at 10:30. One of the things he said there at the end, where he talked about the camps that they're evacuating right now, a lot of them are isolated. I have a little knowledge of the camps that are there. I've been by Camp Mystic. I know where Waldemar, La Junta, all those are. And a lot of them are off the beaten path, kind of up and away. And when you think of all those camps, they are almost all right along the Guadalupe River. So it makes sense that that's where a lot of the evacuations would take place. One of the camps that I'm familiar with is Camp Honey Creek, which is probably...
Okay, so we're waiting on the press conference, 30 minutes.
Seguin got a lot of heavy rain in the past few hours.
And in such a short time, too. That's been the most dangerous part that we've seen here in San Antonio 3 weeks ago, in Kerr County yesterday. When it comes down that quickly and has nowhere to go, you end up with flash flood situations, and those can be incredibly dangerous, as we've seen.
Our Ethan Trejo he was there in Seguin. He's now in New Braunfels, kind of following that weather
storm
pattern.
system.
So that rain is falling in New Braunfels. So areas of New Braunfels, River Road, that's been closed because of dangerous driving conditions there. So again, there's going to be a press conference at 2:30. Updated information. Governor Greg Abbott's going to be there. Other state officials as well, making sure that everyone is up to date with what they know, how many people have been rescued. Again, the numbers they gave us, 850 people rescued last night. Today, 850 people uninjured. 8 of them were injured. Again, they're okay. 27 people so far confirmed dead.
Sometimes
18
trolls
of those
are funny.
people are adults,
Sometimes
9
it's like
are
entertaining
children.
too.
And that number, 850 people rescued, uninjured. The fact that there were that many people that needed to be rescued, that just feels like such an astronomical number of people. I'm so glad they were able to get those people back safely.
And the way they were rescued, right?
Yes.
We've caught video of people being rescued from high water from helicopter. And
I wonder if there's lawsuits that are going to come from this. If so, I don't know. Just thinking about the camp and the kids, the youngest kids. I don't know. Is there going to be any kind of accountability if there's any to be had? Because last night they had mentioned this flooding system, and they were like, "What happened to those flooding systems? I guess it didn't work, or what was the deal with that?"
call that number. If you are still, you haven't been in contact with a loved one, a friend, please call that number 830-258-1111. That's going to get you in contact with some Kerr County officials so that they can make sure that it's on the list and make sure maybe people who have not been identified are identified. And also you can email them at floodrecovery@co.kerr.
Can you sue Mother Nature?
kerr.tx.us. Those are important. That's important information. Again, just people, family members who have not been in contact with their loved ones. Please call that number that you see on your screen.
All right, now we're going to turn it over to Emma Allen at the live desk. She is back with us today to keep bringing you updates on what's going on out there in Kerrville, Kerr County, and then the floods that we've been seeing here in our local area as well.
Missing after this devastating flood.
Crazy, man. I don't know. And then we had all these shootings last night. There's this, we have the crazy flooding, missing people, dead bodies, and also, 4th of July at the same time. Well, I don't know if there were mass shootings, but a lot of shootings last night, people dead. I've read, in one place I thought it was Chicago had like 5 deaths overall. There was an Indianapolis 7 shot, 2 killed downtown shooting. People drinking, people whatever, turning up. It's not Mother Nature when it was modified. I do wonder about the cloud seeding thing, like the long-term effects or the after effects of messing with the clouds and forcing rain, and what happens with that. This guy's driving.
Here, this is Camp Mystic. This is our first view of this area from the sky. Okay. And, like we've been telling you all day, The sky was the only way that first responders could get to this camp yesterday because the one road in and out had been washed away. So the National Guard had to work not the National Guard, the Texas Game Wardens had to work pretty hard to get back in there. You see crumbled buildings in this picture. You can see those washed out roads. It looks like the chimney of a building is leaning onto it. You can almost see the foundations of those buildings that were washed away. Bricks and cement everywhere. It looks almost in the bottom like that is a bus maybe turned on its side.
That's what I was wondering. This right here.
Devastating damage to Camp Mystic here. The second picture that he posted is of the Hunt store that Taylor was bringing you coverage of this morning. She was walking all around that building with residents who live in Hunt. As someone who grew up in the Midwest, it looks similar to what you would see in tornado damage, just buildings absolutely caved in on themselves, debris scattered in places where it's not supposed to be. You can see some overturned campers in this video, the part where people would pull up and get gas. The pumps are down on their sides. The entire roof caved in here of the Hunt store. Unimaginable damage. Again, this is from Congressman Chip Roy. This is the first time that we're really able to see these buildings from above and get a better look at the scope of all of this damage. It's truly heartbreaking to see.
And you can see, you get really great perspective of just how far the Guadalupe River is from this camp. I know that we are on the air talking about, giving you numbers and what we're saying, but this gives you a really good idea of just how far. It's incredible, just the power of Mother Nature, the power of that rainfall that came surging into that area so quickly and so fast, and to be able to have this
I wonder where the camp for the kids were, the youngest kids that's missing, where that was at in that picture. Now, remembering the Texas Hill Country's deadly flood of 1987, the backstory, the other flood that was really bad. A viewer sent me this.
Seeing quite a bit of rain this week. July is usually a dry month all across central Texas. But flooding can happen anytime. And one storm in July of 1987 led to one of the Hill Country's most tragic floods. Here's KVU's Bob Buckaloo.
Along the Guadalupe River near Comfort, Texas, teenagers trapped in trees after a wall of water washed them away. It happened when a caravan of buses trying to escape through a low-water crossing at a church camp after an overnight storm. When their bus stalled, they formed a human chain to try and walk out, only to have a wall of water scatter them into the raging river. Throughout the day, DPS and Army helicopters and a news chopper from KVUE San Antonio media partner rescued dozens of teens and adults who were stranded in trees.
Looks like just like now. This is a repeat of history. 1987.
Many of the rescues were successful, but not all. A young girl, exhausted from trying to stay afloat, was too weak to hold on to a rope and fell back into the water. She did not survive. 33 people were plucked from the Guadalupe and lived, but 10 teenagers drowned. Their names,
so this is literally a repeat,
inscribed in a memorial plaque near the river today. July 17th, 1987, a story of survival and of the heroes who saved their lives, and a story about those who were lost to a summer storm along the Guadalupe. Bob.
Wow. Oh, here this person said, I was watching the news conference yesterday and they advised how this could have not been predicted and could not have been prevented. I refuse to believe this. I'm hoping that after yesterday's events, it will make mandatory evacuations when a certain amount of inches in rain is predicted. Keyword predicted. So we're literally just repeating everything from Decades.
It's right when you get home and you process everything. We all realize how grateful and fortunate we are bringing us these stories. Thank you so much for your time, and then stay safe out there. We're going to check in with Chief Meteorologist Chris Suchan. Chris, we've been following weather all morning, all day long. Where has the weather pattern taken us, and what can our viewers expect?
Well, so we did see the anticipated pulse up in round 2 of flooding rain from this system. We were talking about this yesterday, how everything was decreasing and weakening in intensity, but to be on guard today that we may see it flare back up, and that's exactly what happened
160
through the course
plus
of the
air rescues. I think that number's going up.
Waiting on Governor Abbott.
Airlifting and taking in resources to some of these camps that were isolated. So let's focus on that. Let's focus on finding those who can be found, and then we can always assess going forward. But extremely proud of this community. Support the local law enforcement, first responders, and pray for the families, particularly those who have lost loved ones. With that, I will turn it over to the mayor. Thanks, Joe.
I'm Mayor.
Not cutting out a little bit.
I'm glad you're here. And I have a few comments. No, today will be a hard day.
What are they doing?
This is the message I want to share. The city of Kerrville is thankful. We have help from our city crews, from county personnel, from state agencies, and federal resources.
I'm thinking they're playing the old thing because it hasn't started yet. The event has not started yet. Okay. Ooh. They need a Starlink over there. Starlink help. Oh, let me show you guys this. This looks pretty insane.
I'm out here in Leander, off of Round Mountain, and this whole neighborhood is gone. Houses, cars. That car's still got its lights on. We're out here looking for people. There's houses all back up through here that's gone. Here's a trailer house frame. We haven't found anybody yet, but we're out here looking. I'm out here with some electric guys, but this whole neighborhood, everything's gone. There's a house. It's just gone. I am shook up, man. I'm out here in Leander, off of Round Mountain.
Leander.
Next up is City Manager Dalton Rice.
Thank you, Mayor. Dalton Rice, the City Manager for...
Bella says, here in Florida, we have a weather alert system that goes to our phones. Texas don't have it. I have it. I don't know. Does Texas have that? I have, I think I just have like a weather app or something. And I was like, I have a weather app, and then I get like some notifications if like there's thunder in the area. And then my daughter's school, when there is school, it's summer now, but sometimes when you're going to pick them up, there's thunder. They won't let you pick them up. Like they make you wait and stuff. And so the app tells you the storms and stuff like that are coming. I don't know if I get like an emergency alert system though, but at the weather app, it tells you all the storms in the area and like,
terrain up through Ingram, and we're going to start getting
Texas
information.
Okay.
So again, as the sheriff had alluded to, the information is changing constantly, and it's going to be changing by the minute. Talked about roads. Don't do your own searches. We know everybody wants to get help. As the roads start clearing up, you're gonna want to get out there. We are in constant.
Yeah, they're playing the old update from this morning. We got 15 minutes for the new update. Hopefully they have some type of updates. Crazy. Waiting for the new presser. I'm sure they're all going to show it.
Think I'm in danger. That you're because you're far enough away or you're up high, right? Because it's a hilly area, hence the hill country. And so that's just something to think about, that I'm pretty sure that all of the people who survive this, I can't imagine the PTSD and those children and what they're going to think every time.
This is pretty crazy footage. So let's watch this while we wait for press conference. It says, please do not victim shame. This is what Texas Hill Country flash flood looks like. Flash flood coming in. I have this little radio that it's battery operated, and I think also it has a solar, little mini solar panel on it. I have it for hurricane stuff, you know. I have a little hurricane supply. Well, you know what, Bell? I thought, like, in the press conference, some people had said that they didn't get an alert or something. I thought one of the reporters was asking that. Like, we didn't get an alert. I'm going to see if they ask it today. 10 minutes for the press conference. Harvey. The worst weather I've had, which hasn't really been bad, I've been pretty blessed, was, I forgot the hurricane. Was it Wilma? I don't know. I just had no power for 2 weeks. And it was thundering, raining. There was one time, I forgot which hurricane it was, they said it was going to be the end of Florida, and it was like covering the entire state. There was like a map covering the entire state. And so I had left my apartment that was close to the beach at the time, and I went and stayed at my aunt's, and it was like this nice house, and we had fortified everything. My aunt, I thought we were gonna have power for a while. Her power went out really quick, the internet was out really quick, and it was really hot, and that's when Maddie was just a little baby. That one wasn't too bad. But it turned out that my apartment by the beach was actually fine. Everybody shifted. That was one of those hurricanes, too, that they said it was going to hit this part of Florida, and it actually kind of went somewhere else last minute. And it actually almost shifted to where people were trying to escape. Everybody was trying to leave Florida, and they were getting stuck on the road, stranded and stuff. But there was one, too, that had no power for 2 weeks. That one was just kind of like, you know, uncomfortable, I guess. Some people have turn off alerts on it. That's true, Snickers Girl. Yeah, that is true. A lot of people have the notifications turned off on their phone.
Mel, you are the best news channel by far. I have that radio too.
You do? Oh, thanks. Thank you, Cynthia. Appreciate the time. Yeah, I had that radio. It's like a little. Mine's like a little orange one. I have all these little battery packs and candles and battery operated candles, real ones and fake ones. But yeah, the power in 2 weeks is just kind of, you know. FEMA was out there and when it got supplies and stuff, extra supplies. Eight minutes to the press conference if they start on time. No, I'm not a prepper, man. I'm very light. The preppers, they go hard. No, I'm very light. Hey, it was kind of fun though, getting the supplies and stuff like that. Having like a let's see. This is look at all the trash, the debris. Look how high the water is. Where's this at? I wonder what part of Texas is that.
The impetus behind all that was Chief Deputy Brian Henderson and Chief Deputy of the State Attorney's Office.
Biker gang, Florida biker gang shootout. What was that, 4th of July too? Yesterday? Let's check out Greg Abbott. I wonder if this is San Gabriel. That is crazy. Good Samaritan caught rescuing dog from floodwaters. Let's take a quick look at this. Save the dog. Doggy! Wow. Guadalupe.
And as a reminder, we'll be in there for 3 minutes tops, so once you see anything, go to the door, follow me.
These guys are running. All right, we're getting ready for the press conference. I'll set it up in the corner for now until they're ready. I heard about it, Rockman. How you doing? Welcome back today. Thanks for coming. Yeah, I heard about it. 2 dead. Last I saw, 7 shot. There was some other bunch of shootings in Chicago, I think. But I might have to see if I can update it on the second channel. I don't know. I haven't had any time. It's been just so crazy with the flood. Excuse me. Oh boy.
Can do to help protect as many people and bring as much relief as soon as possible. So thank you for your leadership, and then thank you for your leadership. And with that, I'm just going to let you brief me, and I'm pretty candid and laid back, so I might interrupt and ask a few questions as we go, if that's all right. But the more information that I have helps us make better decisions, be much more responsive in how we support how we are running this emergency response.
Hey, so low.
So with that, I don't know if you want to.
There was mine kicking us off, and we'll work down
They're moving again. Video they're saying a bridge was swept away. A bridge swept away in San Gabriel River. Florida's overdue for a bad hurricane too, right? It's been a while since we had a really. Well, I guess there was one in North Florida that was not bad. Like a catastrophic hurricane for that. Turn it down. Ooh, thanks for telling me. Waiting on the press conference. That's true, Barbara. Oh. Wilco officials have issued a local disaster declaration amid flash flooding that's caused San Gabriel River to rise.
So this morning, I got a text from my mom who was like, do you know what's that? And I tried to text her back and I said, we're dying. And then we hear like debris coming, hitting ours. And then like something just like goes, like slides on our house. And my husband's like, that's your truck. Our truck is sliding down and got taken away. And then my work car got taken away.
Talk to me about the water.
The water was coming up out of the toilet. It was like, and then my husband's like, oh babe, the water's coming out of it. And when the water was coming out of the toilet, the water from the front of that, where we were staying, from the front, just engulfed our house, and it raised up, and all we can do was save ourselves and like jump on stuff. I literally had to jump on the refrigerator to save me, and my husband was in the room.
You told me you thought you might die.
Yes, I had to call my kids. I had to call my kids and tell them, I said, I love you. I don't know if I'm gonna see you tomorrow. I'm gonna die.
Damn.
So this morning,
Flood. Did it really? Floodwater contamination killed several rescue dogs after floods here in Appalachia. Tina Wilson was in the trailer when she was injured. What's going on? I guess the pressure's delayed. Wow. What was that?
Tie.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Dean. Holding on for the press conference. Just waiting for some official updates. Let me check out this website here that's been giving updates as well. So what they got? Time is ticking. Father searches for daughter. Joyce Catherine, T.Y. Baden called out from the banks of Guadalupe River. Oh, this is what I want to show you guys. This is crazy here. Texas needs some help. Thank you, guys. Texas woman made a desperate call for help yesterday after flood waters broke into her home while she was carrying her bedridden father. I hope they get rescued.
Anybody out there? Okay, my house is flooding. Anybody out there? I have my dad on hospice and I need to get him out of here. He's bedridden, he can't walk, he can hardly move, and look where the water is. So somebody please, we've called 911. It's bad over here. In front of the house, it's like a river. I mean, it's like a lake. They can't come look. We've lost our cars, everything. We've lived here for 30 years and this has never happened. So anybody, please, if you have a boat or something, I need help. I need to get my dad out of here. It's starting to smell like sewer in here.
Wow.
Okay, my house.
Wow, that's crazy.
Okay, my house is flooded.
Well, your president cut off funding for FEMA, sending prayers, but I think a lot of people are like upset with the president, and so I guess why it's turned the way, or people making the comments that they're making, is because they're upset, and so I guess Texas is red. So I mean, there's blue people there too, but I guess because people are angry, they're hoping for death and suffering. That's the only way to satiate how they feel inside, I guess. I wanted to see if I could find an update with that lady. What happened to her? Well, somebody said they were rescued, and it was originally Rachel Sanchez who posted the video. Okay. Oh, so I guess that's where the anger is coming from. People are just, feeling some kind of way. This, where's the water draining to? I don't know. That's a good question. Let me see if I can look that up. Let me see. I guess some people have been salivating and waiting for the moment. Kids are dead? Yes! So I guess now they feel like now is the time to strike, I guess. Headwaters starts in Texas Hill Country near Kerrville, where Camp Mystic is located. Flows southeast through New Braunfels, Seguin, Gonzales, Victoria. drains into the San Antonio Bay, which connects to the Gulf of Mexico. I wonder what Doc Chambers had to say. Isn't posted. They're making me sneeze. It's all rotted. Gulf.
Excuse me. Oh my God. Let me go get it.
I guess they're running late again. Everybody's waiting for the presser. Let's see.
In central Texas right now, 27 dead, 18 adults, 9 children. The update given there, Congressman Chip Roy also on hand said that 160 plus air rescues have been part of all of this. The mayor of Kerrville, Texas, joining that press conference saying, today will be a hard day. Please pray for us. With that, we are now joined by Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, who's here with us. Lieutenant Governor, thanks so much for joining us here. Can you give us an update on what you're seeing in the latest efforts there, and what more does Central Texas need from the state and from the federal government?
So thanks for having me on. This started yesterday morning very early when my phone started ringing. And at the time, I was acting governor. The governor returned to state last night. He broke off his trip and came back early from where he was. And so I was there all day pretty much yesterday in Kerrville and our emergency senator as we were walking through this in these early hours. And just to amplify what has been said, an incredible teamwork between the state and local officials. Early in the morning yesterday, we had hundreds of people on the ground, up to almost 500 very quickly. Helicopters in the air, drones in the air, to the point we really couldn't take any more helicopters because of the crowded space. You did not want another catastrophe. But everyone did the very best they could in this very tragic situation. This camp, for people who are around the country that don't know much about this camp, it started in 1926, and we have generations of people, grandmothers who went there, mothers who went there, daughters who went there, granddaughters who went there. This touches so much of the state because so many people are connected to it. And so this one camp was right where the heaviest rains came from above them and down. And to put this in perspective, Dalton, the city manager who you heard speak a few moments ago, he told me yesterday that he was out jogging at about 3:30 in the morning and not a drop of rain. And by the time he got home and got dressed, and the rain started coming and the water started coming down, within 45 minutes, the Guadalupe River increased to a height of 26 feet. 26 feet in 45 minutes, washing away everything in its path with the power of the water, because it had been dry. The rocks, when it's dry, that water just goes down like a chute, and so that water came powerfully hard, and it took out everything in its way. And one of the things we don't know is we don't know how many people were in tents on the side, in small trailers by the side, or in rented homes by the side, because it was going to be the 4th of July, a holiday. Of course, everyone had come to get their best place in front of the stage and along the river to enjoy the day. So we are focused on the girls in that camp first and foremost, but all the other lives that we know have been lost, and those we don't know yet because we don't have anyone reporting for the most part on them. I had a call this morning on my phone early from a family, a father who said, I have my oldest daughter, but our youngest daughter is missing. They were both at camp, and I just need help in finding her. And his name was Doug, and to Doug and to everyone, we will not stop until we recover every person. We will not stop, no matter how long it takes.
Lieutenant Governor, you mentioned speaking to one of the parents there of that father. Have you had a chance to?
The thing with that, though, I don't know if they're going to find everybody. That's the sad reality, you know. People get lost in bodies of water and are never found. The way this water's moving and all the debris, if it's really going out to, where did it say it was going out to? The Gulf, you know.
To hear from any of the other parents from the kids at this camp, because so much attention is focused now on finding these young children. These were 8, 9, 10-year-old girls, as I understand it.
Yeah, the camp Camp Mystic is kind of split into two sections, and the one section where the younger children were is where most of those missing persons came from in that area. I've got 8 grandkids. I've been up all night. I've been up 2 nights, actually. I couldn't sleep last night. The heartbreak. Governor Abbott and I were there to about, I guess, I don't know, 10, 11 o'clock at night. I can't remember. But we were there, and it's unspeakable. It's just, there's no words that you can have for someone who loses a child. And, we've had our disasters in Texas, and we've had our times of loss in Texas, and major disasters. But the focus on the children here has been, I think, what touches everyone's heart. And it just makes you want to hug every parent, but you don't have words to say. This is where you have to rely on the Word of God. You have to stand on the foundation of your faith. This is when you are tested. Whether you're a rescuer, I was flying back last night, and one of the young men sitting next to me on the plane was one of the divers. And I had asked him, I said, how many were you able to rescue today? And that was yesterday. And we had rescued, or they had rescued hundreds of yesterday, probably over 300. I don't know the exact count. But he was one who had to go down, and the person he rescued was already deceased and was 8 years old. And that will be with him forever. And so what makes this the additional tragedy is usually when there's a disaster, pretty quickly about the outcome of those you love. Were they injured? Were they harmed? Did they lose their life? In this case, they had to wait all day yesterday with lots of hope, and now we're in the recovery mode. Could we find a miracle and find someone somewhere in a tree somewhere? Pray that we do, but now we are still searching, still rescuing, but recovery at this point. It's very hard, as the mayor said.
Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick of Texas, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. Pray for us. Pray for the folks in Kerrville and for these families with missing children. Thank you all. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the
ground now to try to get to, hopefully, prayerfully,
a long amount of time. So that's the good news. But we're watching this.
I'm trying to see what's going on with this presser.
And I'm wondering if our producer Landon can go and find that video because we had spoken to her yesterday as she rushed to get out of the flood waters, and she was able to bring her animals along with her. And then today, she spoke with her earlier today as I believe she caught up with her at a shelter and or outside of her home as she tried to go back and see what was left. And she was just like, listen, I need help. She's an older woman. She's like, I'm afraid of falling in there. She's like, it's slippery in there. It's just a muddy mess. And obviously she's grateful that she survived and that she has her pets with her. But this is a woman who's alone and obviously needs a lot of help. So we're trying to look for that video, and we want to show that to you. And we also want to show you some of the other structural damage. Okay, we don't have that video now, but we will bring it up.
Yeah, I want to talk about something else that I noticed last night in some of our video. I was not in town. I flew back this morning. What you will notice, and you noticed it in Uvalde, and you notice it whenever some of these tragic events happen, law enforcement and first responders working to help. In Uvalde, they were doing patrols in Uvalde to help out a police department that was grieving and a fire department that was grieving. Here, there are so many people in Kerrville that are working just to rescue and working out in the country that you will
Hopefully
notice
they start soon.
Ambulances from other places.
Oh, yeah.
You may see San Antonio ambulances in downtown Kerrville. I saw a Travis County.
Let's see what else we got.
Are starting to go back up. So we're just hoping that the rain is going to stop sooner rather than later. And I know we're waiting for an update from the governor. Can't wait to hear what he has to say about the situation in Travis County and really across central Texas. This is Betty Crush reporting live, CBS Austin in Jonestown.
Let's take another look at the presser. We are waiting for Governor Greg Abbott to take the podium there. We know that he was in a briefing with Kristi Noem, NIMKID. We did see Senator John Cornyn there as well. So we are expecting to hear possibly like what the response is to this ongoing situation today, and also the response to what happened in Kerr County yesterday when the Guadalupe River rose and swept so many people away.
Yeah, they're in Kerrville, which is still a dire situation, but now you have to add in what's going on in Travis County and Williamson County as well. The death toll from the devastating flooding down in Kerr County has risen to 27. Kerr County Sheriff Larry Liefka says that over 850 people have been found uninjured and 8 people are hurt. He also says 100 have been evacuated. U.S. Representative Chip Roy, who is also supposed to be in that press conference, gave thanks to the first responders who worked through the night to save victims.
Extremely proud of this community. Let's finish the job here over the next few days. Support the local law enforcement and the first responders, and pray for the families, particularly those who have lost loved ones.
All right, and Avery Tomasco, of course, working tirelessly to keep an eye on this ever-changing system. Now, Avery, this is a tropical system, and if you had been outside, if you were not maybe threatened by the water, but you'd wondered why it is so warm and humid. That's why.
Yep, not only here at the surface where we live, but all the way through the vertical atmosphere, which leads to exceptionally heavy rainfall rates, even if it doesn't appear to be that heavy when you're looking at radar. This event that started over there in Kerr County along the Guadalupe River unfortunately hit so close to home. I was telling Allison just yesterday about how I spent many summers as a kid over there along the Guadalupe at Camp Rio Vista, and we would oftentimes, at least once every summer that I was there, have a little soiree, if you will, with the Camp Mystic kids. I would go over to Camp Mystic, they would come over to our camp to have a dance. So it's so tragic, I know, for me and for many of you at home as well, that know of kids and families that send their kids to camps over there, to see this all unfold in the last 24 hours. It has been absolutely heartbreaking. That was an overnight rain bomb on the Guadalupe River watershed that in the dark of night sent water surging downstream the Guadalupe. We had an eerily similar situation happen last night, this morning, right here in northwestern Travis County over towards Burnett County. These are 24-hour rainfall totals. Take 12 hours off of that. Most of this fell since midnight, and that is 18.5 inches of rain on the eastern side of Burnett County. That's 16 inches northwestern Travis County, 9 inches closer to Leander, and this is a pretty widespread bomb of rain, even a foot up there towards Burnett. So this water has to go somewhere, right? The soil out here is much more shallow than you'll find east of I-35, more rocky terrain. It's called the hill country for a reason. So when the soil was soaked, it all had to run downstream, and it has, especially along the San Gabriel River. There's a North Fork and a South Fork. The North Fork goes into Lake Georgetown.
Okay, let's see. Waiting. Hopefully they start now. So running 30 minutes behind. Yesterday they were late too, about an hour.
They will be all getting together right now, likely being briefed right now on what the very latest is. We do know that disaster declarations were signed by the governor just yesterday. Perhaps we will get a better idea as well of maybe some of the other resources that could be coming into town. I know last night we had talked about over 1,000 folks that had come into town with over 800 pieces of equipment that included choppers, boats, you name it. But we could be getting an update as far as additional resources that may be on the way to help in this rebuilding process.
And we're just continuing to show you these images. Our reporters have been out. At times they're going live, they're moving locations. So sometimes we have them and they're able to give you an on-the-ground look, and sometimes they're in transition. Sometimes they may not have service or reception or the capabilities to go live.
That right there, though, again, it gives you just the sheer sense of the sheer amount of damage that folks are dealing with out there, whether it be an RV park, whether it would be a child's camp, just a neighborhood. It gives you a sense now that the water has finally receded and we're able to get back out there with our crews to see for ourselves as well just how bad that damage is. That right there is a Hunt store. We'd heard about it earlier. That's a place that everybody knows around there, and unfortunately doesn't look like it's there really anymore.
It's not. They were inside. There were some very kind gentlemen out there. She was doing a live shot and they were just walking her around and talking about their lifelong memories of this place, Hunt Store. And we've actually replayed that interview several times throughout the morning because it was such a good firsthand look at how impactful this is. And he was able to talk about how incredible the community is, and everybody's showing up there, but how much of a staple it is in that community. And I'll ask my producer if we could get that queued up to air that again of Taylor walking around and doing that interview, which may take a couple minutes, but I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there to communicate with y'all. And here's another image. I don't know when that was taken from. This looks like one of the staging areas where first responders have been going, and you can see ambulances there. Probably one of the bases for some of the search and rescue crews. One of the things I was going to say, so Taylor, to mention her again, she's currently, I believe, unavailable, but we've talked a lot about these camps, and a lot of them are in Hunt. And we've been talking about all of the damage that's in Hunt. There's another camp, Heart of the Hill. They did not have any campers, but we know the camp director did not survive. But Taylor was out there earlier. So whenever we do hear from her again, I think she'll have a look for us at what that camp, and we know it was destroyed. Sadly, the camp director didn't survive, but I know our producer just said something in my ear. Are we going to be able to take that interview from Taylor?
No, that was going to be the images that we were looking at there to give a specific area in which we were looking at. That's going to be Hunt. And again, we've got crews out across the area. In fact, here's the interview that we had from earlier that was with Taylor. Let's take a listen.
We're outside the Hunt store, which is a staple here.
Already. Let's see what we got. They're running late. I was hoping that we were going to be late today like this because I have something I got to do. Of course, though. We saw that.
Law, as well as Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. Landon, did you just tell us they're about ready? They're getting ready? Getting missing persons ready. Okay, yeah. We're going to try and show you some of the photos that have been shared to us by parents who are looking for their kids. And that is, like I said, something I don't want to lose track of in this whole thing is the number of people who are missing, the number of people who we have lost. These missing family members staying at Casa Bonita in Hunt, Pam and Mike Smith, Brian Carpenter and Blake. This is something as a parent, I think you can identify something as a loved one, you can identify that they are just desperately hoping to find their missing loved ones that were there for the 4th of July weekend.
Yeah, just to have fun, and then something unfortunately tragic and horrific like this happens. Do we have another full screen? Because I know that there are a number of people that we want to show you. This person posted, our grandparents have been missing since about 5 a.m. this morning from the Kerrville flood that they were last seen at the cabin at Blue Oak RV Park right along the river. If anyone's seen them or has any information about their whereabouts, please contact us immediately. And these are the names of the people that are missing. It's Joni and Robert Brake right there. And those are, we want to keep those pictures up for as long as we can, just so that we familiarize ourselves with them. These are people that are missing, and they obviously have people who love them and are hoping for their safe return.
And like I said, I was in the Dallas area for the 4th of July last night, and so I watched one of the local newscasts up there. What we are doing right now, they were also doing up there, showing pictures of missing kids, hoping somebody, anybody might come across them. Like I said, you know, many of them hopefully hanging onto a tree, maybe in a field somewhere, maybe hanging onto, you know, a piece of wood as they were floating away. Hopefully we have more reunifications.
Somebody in the chat said, in a different chat, class action lawsuit against that girl's camp incoming. I don't know if they could sue. I mean, anybody could get sued, but I wonder if they have a case. If they could try to find some type of, I don't know, some type of lack of care or some type of like supervision, like lack of supervision or something, or policy in place for emergencies. But that camp's been around for a long time. I just don't understand why the camp with the youngest kids was just, that's the one that's gone. Uh-oh. Elon Musk said he's creating the American Party today. He's creating his own party. Oh, snap! Oh! Let's see what else we got with this while we wait. Damn Abbott.
There are places you can rent out to stay. I mentioned the fact that there's a great old-time rodeo, Crider's, that's just down from the Hunt store and down from Camp Mystic. That is iconic. You can go to the rodeo on a Saturday night, and then they have a dance afterwards. These are just these little, hole-in-the-wall places that make up so many aspects of the Hill Country and what we love and enjoy about the Hill Country, that you have to wonder what's happened to them through all this.
Yeah, because there are places that people go to visit and go and enjoy, and then they go back home. But there are people who live there.
Yeah.
And these are the kindest people that you'll meet. I had a series, Your.
And that's what happened here in Central Texas. Taught growing up to put myself in other people's shoes. And I try to think back
Nearly
to
30 people missing from summer camp.
8-year-old, 9-year-old Casey, and how excited those little kids must have been to be down there at camp with all their friends and their sleeping bags and all their gear and the goodbyes with mom and dad and all of the fun activities that they had planned, and just the best of times. And it really goes to show you, and it really illustrates how, not to sound trite, but life can change in a matter of seconds. We shouldn't take it for granted. Camp Mystic, small private Christian camp, and it has been operated by generations of the same family since 1930. Their website describes it as a place to grow spiritually in a wholesome Christian environment. It's near Hunt, Texas, right there along the Guadalupe River, and 27 people from Camp Mystic are unaccounted for, still missing now more than 24 hours since those floodwaters rushed into their camps between the hours of 4 and 6 in the morning as kids slept, and very little time to react. And I know that those camp counselors and the adults tasked with taking care of them and overseeing their safety did everything that they could to keep those kids safe. But when you have a wall of water, or fast moving water that is so swift, it can carry a house off of its foundation and send it downriver. Sometimes there's just no fighting back with something like that, and something so powerful. We have a number of North Texas families that are impacted by this, and that is not lost on us as we look at this from a large-scale view, a story that is all over the national news on this Saturday, and national networks are parachuting correspondents and
the
teams
new party
in here to give coverage in the coming days and weeks, because folks, this is going to unfortunately stretch over quite a period of time. It takes a bit of time to be able to clean up and to move all of the debris and to get roads cleared and power restored, and it's not an easy feat. So some of the hardest days are ahead for this community, and again, the communities downstream impacted the weather forecast for today, there's some chances of rain for parts of these areas that are already so saturated, and that's just the last thing they need, obviously. But we're gonna.
They're saying this girl Bella Kate was found safe. Bella Kate was found safe. Bella Kate was a camp counselor when the flash flood occurred. Okay. That's good.
It is not a good. It's not a good situation, and you see the result. Roads washed away. That is making it very difficult for, even if the waters have gone down, it makes it very difficult for those teams that have boots on the ground to get in and access some of the badly damaged areas, and frankly, the people who probably need help the most. So there are Texas DPS helicopters that are in the air. They have numerous drones that are doing surveillance. Those drones, just incredible. I mean, they have night vision capabilities, heat sensing capabilities on them. I don't know if you remember back to the Boston Marathon bombing, and when the suspects were on the run, and one of them was hiding in a boat in a backyard, and the helicopters with the heat sensing equipment were able to see the suspect hiding under the boat cover in someone's backyard. That's how they figured out where he was, and that's how they got him. And so this technology now really makes it easy for makes it easier tools to assist them in these efforts that are so arduous. We're going to go ahead and now toss over to the press conference. I'm being told that this is underway. It's about to be underway. So let's head live now to Kerr County.
Come on.
We'll hear from Governor Abbott.
Oh, okay.
DHS Secretary Christy.
That's not even showing on this one over here.
Senator John Cornyn.
All right.
All file
It's
in
about
there.
time.
And hopefully they will have some updated information for us based off of what we've got. We've been working off of news since the press conference at 10 this morning. So a couple of hours has passed now, and we know that a couple of hours is key. They can get a lot done, and they can learn a lot in a couple of hours. And this was supposed to start initially at 2, then they moved it to 2:45, and now 3:13, Governor Abbott coming up to the podium. Again, folks, it's pixelating. It may cut in and out. We're having some communications issues because it's a disaster zone, so be mindful of that. Let's listen in to Governor Greg Abbott and hear what
What about Starlink? Y'all need Starlink. No audio? Can't hear him.
Okay. And we're not hearing
Check if
Governor
any
Abbott.
other
Go
station.
figure. Like I said, this is tricky when we're trying to cover.
I have audio on this side.
First, what I have observed in this community over the past 24 hours is what I call quintessential Texas. When Texans face a challenge, we come together, we unite. And that's exactly what's happened over the past 24 to 48 hours in this community. Nothing more than extraordinary devastation. And the worst thing that could have happened in this community fell upon it. They could have fallen apart. They could have fought against each other. But instead, they understand the importance of unity. That's what Texans do. It's what we will continue to do. Along those lines, something else to double down on what I said last night. We will be relentless in going after and ensuring that we locate every single person who's been a victim of this flooding event. We're not going to stop today or tomorrow. We will stop when the job is completed. Between now and whenever that day arrives when the job is completed, this is a 24/7 operation, day and night. because we know that we are looking for Texans and Americans, and we put them as our top priority, and we will find every one of them. Additionally, I want to let you know that overnight, there was an increase in storm damage and rainfall and flooding in other regions of the state of Texas that were in addition to the ones that were in the disaster declaration that I made yesterday. What I'm going to sign today is an expanded disaster declaration that adds the following counties to what I signed yesterday. This disaster declaration includes Bexar County, Burnett, Caldwell, Guadalupe, Travis, and Williamson counties. We will continue to add counties as needed as conditions either worsen or improve in counties across the state of Texas. We will ensure that every asset and resource the state has is going to be made available to every county that's the subject of this disaster declaration. Also, I've had the opportunity to visit not just with Secretary Noem, but other officials in the Trump administration. We know that President Trump, he loves Texas for one. He's deeply concerned about all the families who've been affected, but also knows about the magnitude of the devastation that we're suffering. And so what I'm about to sign now is going to be the first step in a process. This document is a request for a federal disaster declaration coming from the governor to seek the immediate and ongoing help of the federal government. I want to express my gratitude in advance to President Trump for his entire administration for their devotion to the state of Texas. He always tells me about his love for the people of the state of Texas, his deep concern for them, and I know that he's feeling that now as much as he ever has. And there's no better way to show that than the fact that he wanted to ensure that he and his entire administration was represented here today by Secretary Kristi Noem, to whom I would like to turn things over at this time.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. And I want to thank Governor Abbott for his leadership, and know that President Trump is absolutely heartbroken by what has happened here in Texas, and the loss of life is absolutely devastating to him and Melania. This morning I talked with him several times, and he wanted to make sure that all of you know how much he loves Texas, how much he's grieving for your families that have lost someone, and the beautiful children that we're still looking for and hoping to return to their families, and that he is absolutely committed to using all the resources of the federal government to help unify families, rescue all those that were still missing, and return those who maybe we will recover back to their families as soon as possible, and that we will be here walking alongside each other and helping throughout this entire crisis. And know that I'm extremely grateful as well for the leadership of Nim Kidd, who's a fantastic emergency operations manager and has been well known throughout this country for leading through such a time as this. And this tragic situation is something that is unprecedented. We recognize that at the federal level. We also recognize that when something like this happens to a community, happens to a state, that the best responders are those locally, because it's your family members, it's your community members that are being impacted, and you can respond quickly. And the role of the state is to run and manage that emergency, but the federal government needs to be here for the support and extra resources on the ground as well. And that is what we are doing and what President Trump has dedicated to continue to do. I've visited with the president already about this federal disaster declaration that the governor was going to sign here this morning, and he has indicated that he will honor that and that he will accept that. So that response and that relief will be coming. And we also have had assets here on the ground since the beginning of this crisis started, since this weather event did start. And even before it came, we were alerted. We did have Coast Guard assets here that were helping to rescue people. We're thankful for the airframe that showed up and those coasties that were here walking alongside our DPS and the emergency responders that were here, the Texas assets that were deployed already, and that coordination was seamless, and I appreciate them for putting that request in right away. We also had our BORTAC team from Customs and Border Protection out here helping with rescues. They are a specialized, trained force to come in these types of situations and bring their skill set to bear that is a resource that's incredibly important to the Department of Homeland Security, but also in these types of situations when we need emergency management response. We also did have a CBP advisory interdiction specialist here that was helping with some coordination of air assets that has been present. And then we are looking at the other entities that are under the department, what can be utilized, and of course FEMA is standing at an enhanced level right now, which means that they are plugged in to the State Operations Center. We are engaged, and then as this response goes forward, that their role will continue to be filled as it always is in these situations and will be timely and responsive as to what the governor requests and what is needed here on the ground. I do know that the state of Texas is amazing in how it responds to disasters. Not every state is like that. Many states do not do what the people of Texas do. And you are an example to the nation of getting through these difficult times, but also know that you're not alone, that you have the entire country's hearts and are with you and are walking alongside you. And at the department, we will continue to bring more resources. We just, at the request of a previous conversation less than an hour ago, in visiting with him and with the governor, requested more fixed-wing aircraft from Coast Guard to come and help us. Making sure that we're going out and locating individuals as fast as possible that we know are still missing, and that we also will send more airframe as far as helicopters that have the ability to come in, and some will be equipped, and the fixed wings with thermals so they can continue to work all night long. Some of the assets that other agencies may offer don't have that kind of equipment, but the Coast Guard does have it, and so that will be deployed so that the search and rescue efforts don't stop even when it does get dark at night. We'll continue to stay engaged, and I'll be here. I'm going to go up to the camp, Mystic, and I'm going to go around town and spend some time here today and make sure that when I am calling and talking to the president throughout the day that he has timely information and that the requests that are coming here from the leadership on the ground are met immediately, and that we can take care of these families and take care of these folks right away. We do know the number one priority now is people. Is making sure we're finding people as fast as possible and we're returning them to their families. And then also, throughout the process, we'll get into what damage was done to public infrastructure, what may have been done to, I know we have 1,800 people that are still without power. What I understand is people still have water, but we do have damage to bridges and to roads, thankfully dams held. But all of that is an assessment that we'll continue to work with you on to make sure that you recover as quickly as possible. So again, thank you all for being strong and being an example for people. Someone told me a long time ago, over 30 years ago, that to never get angry on behalf of yourself, get angry on behalf of the other people, to always go out and get up every day and go work for other people and help them. And so I know many of you that are out there responding and helping your neighbors had losses too. You're hurting because you're grieving somebody that may have been lost. We were created to serve people. God created us to serve each other. And now is a wonderful time to go find somebody you can help, somebody that you can take care of and get them through this process. And that will make us stronger and better into the future. So our prayers are with you. President Trump wants you to know that he and Melania are praying for you and love you. And with that, I'll turn it back over to the governor.
Sure. Well, thank you very much. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for the assets and resources you and the Trump administration are providing. One thing that Secretary Noem mentioned was the fact that recoveries and rescues are being made, and what has happened over the past 36 hours is really amazing. When you look at what the local officials have done, working in collaboration with multiple state agencies as well as our federal partners, in 36 hours, they have rescued or recovered more than 850 people. some clinging to trees to save their lives, others in other precarious situations. It's just sheer heroism, the way that we've seen our first responders rescue so many people. And now I would like to turn things over to Senator John Cornyn.
My thanks to President Trump and Secretary Noem for responding so quickly to Governor Abbott's request for a federal disaster declaration. And particularly, Madam Secretary, thank you for being here in person. It's really important, and I think sends a very important message. Unfortunately, I've been to a number of disasters over the years across the state of Texas, as has the governor, and none of these get any easier. But I have to tell you, I remain incredibly impressed with Governor Abbott's leadership and the incredible work that the Texas Department of Emergency Management, under the leadership of Nim Kidd, do. They are literally the best in the nation. And what Secretary Noem said about other states not responding as well is true. It's something we should be very proud of and grateful for, particularly at a time like this. And then there are the men and women who are standing behind us here, who have been doing the work on the ground, not waiting for the federal government to show up. They've been getting the work done, as the governor pointed out. And we are all together, we are praying for those who have lost loved ones and are grieving. We are celebrating with those who have been reacquainted with and rejoined with their family members. And, you know, a few years ago, the governor will remember this, up in West Texas after a terrible disaster, a county commissioner there said something to me that I think is appropriate at a time like this. He said, being from Texas is not just about where you're from, it's who your family is. And so when things like this happen, we come together as a family, as Texans, in a way that I'm very proud of, but it's very important because this is who our family is, and we owe it to them. And I take the governor at his word that he and his team will be relentless in supporting all of the efforts at the local and the federal level until every last person is accounted for and those families are reunited with their loved ones. But Governor, thank you again for your leadership. Secretary Noem, it means a lot to us for you to be here. And we appreciate Governor Abbott and Chief Kidd, but we appreciate President Trump and you responding so quickly to the governor's request for disaster declaration. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now Congressman Chip Roy.
Thank you, Governor. Thanks all of you for being here. You know, before I was crazy enough to run for Congress, my family and I started a tradition of coming down to Kerrville for 4th of July. And we've been coming here every summer since my kids were little. They're now 14 and 15 to see Robert Earl and whoever else was playing. And pictures have been popping up my phone, the ones that, you know, kick on the anniversary of different shows, like a bunch of different shows over the last decade. It hits home. It really does. It hits personally for those of us for whom this is our community, our home. My family lives in Hayes County, but we spend a lot of time in
I can't with y'all
Kerr.
Fires. No more fires, explosions.
I can't say enough about the local leadership and what they've been doing in the face of this disaster. Your city manager has done an extraordinary job. Your sheriff has done an extraordinary job. I could go down the list of everybody, and I'll leave somebody out. But I can't say enough about what they've done, and then I can't say enough about the governor and about NIM and about the leadership that has come from the state and from DPS and from TDEM to get this done and to do what we're in the process of still doing to react to this unfortunate circumstance. It's been professional and it's been extremely well done. And I have to say, the secretary yesterday, I reached out to her office. I think it might be 15 minutes later that I got a call from the secretary, immediately responding to requests. I talked to NIM about the need for Army Corps support and some other stuff, immediately talked to the secretary about it. The collaboration, the teamwork, local, state, and federal, I cannot overstate the extent to which everybody set aside turfs or any of those kinds of things to deliver for the people of Texas. Now, we're far from having finished the job. We're all here knowing that we still have work to do. We're still prayerful. We're still hopeful. Obviously, there's a lot here that we're dealing with, but I'm deeply appreciative for that. That
I haven't heard
coordination.
anything so far,
And
really. In
the
this
last
press
point that I'll
conference.
just make is, you know, and I've said this a little bit earlier this morning, there's going to be a lot of finger pointing and a lot of second guessing and Monday morning quarterbacking. And I just want to pick up on what I think the governor said about 850 something individuals that were moved quickly in this circumstance, and in a once in a century flood where you get 12, 14 inches, where you get a 26 to 30 foot increase in water in the course of an hour and a half at 4 to 6 o'clock in the morning on a holiday. And that's what we're dealing with in these circumstances and where those camps are. There's a lot of people saying why and how, and I understand that. And I understand why parents would be asking those questions and all of the media. But where we are right now in terms of what we've done to be able to protect people, move them, get them out of the camps, and the heroic efforts of people that worked in those camps, directors of the camps, people who own the camps, who not just risked their lives, gave their lives to try to go save the lives of those kids. That's who they are as Texans. And I'm so proud of that. And I'm so proud of the work that everyone's done to do that. And now we just got to finish the job and be with the people. And importantly, pray for the families who have lost their loved ones.
Thank you. Now, Kerr County Judge Kelly.
Yes, I think I'm the only one at this table that lives on the Guadalupe River. And our properties were devastated, and I barely got home yesterday. I started my morning ushering in a crew with a skid steer and 2 dump trailers, 3 trucks, 9 men to start trying to rebuild what
Oh, 5 minute cut off.
what went down the river.
Okay, we got to back up.
I then had the opportunity to come here, 50-year where I was asked to go over to the funeral home. I had issues over there. I am a 50-year lawyer and a mediator and arbitrator, and we had some issues that needed attention. And I got to see firsthand many of the body bags, and it breaks my heart. And coming back from that, we had a opportunity to go on a helicopter ride with the senator and the mayor and inspect the devastation. We flew all the way up the South Fork, all the way to Criders. And you can see what's happened, and it's going to be a long time before we're ever going to be able to clean it up, much less rebuild it. But there's nothing on the other side of Criders. It's just hill country. And we didn't know. We know we get rains. We know the river rises. But nobody saw this coming. And what I really have to report to you is it was a godsend to be able to get out of the helicopter, walk back into this building, and sit down with these people and cooperate, arm in arm, hand in hand, to do the best we can to work the process. The rescue has gone as well as can be expected. It's getting time now for the recovery. And that's going to be a long, toilsome task for us. And what I would reiterate that I've heard others say is as long as we stay together, we'll get this done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now, Mayor Herring.
I want to start off by saying thank you on behalf of the city of Kerrville and our 25,000 citizens. I want to say thank you to the federal government, the state government, county.
I really was wondering and hoping for an update.
As I look,
and all I'm hearing, I guess I understand the thanking thing, but like if I had family, it's missing, and kids, and mothers, father, all this, I don't want to hear any of this shit. I want to hear what's the progress, what's the status, you know, how many people do we have on the ground, what technology are you using, how many helicopters, trucks, whatever, how far down, what's the progression, weather. Do you have the assistance that you need? Where can people get help from? Is there a website? something. This whole thing. Why do I want to hear this for? If I'm missing somebody, I want to hear some actual information, some updates. This is bullshit.
Kerr County, we need your prayers. And thank God we have the help of the federal government and the state government in this horrible, horrible crisis. Thank God for our country, and thank God for all the help we are receiving today.
Maybe they need somebody else to speak, somebody that has logistics and strategy, a map or
Chief
something.
Nimkid. Thank you, Governor. My heart breaks. It's broken for those families that have lost their loved ones, and that fuels our drive to continue to search for them, and we will not stop until we find every one of them. I have to start by thanking our local first responders. Those men and women on the streets live here, they work here, their families are here, yet they got on the truck and they got in the car and they got in the ambulance and they went out and they did everything they could to save their neighbors. You also have volunteers all over this county that do the job for free, that were out there working to save lives, many times putting their own lives and their property at risk. Our state partners have been phenomenal, nothing short. Madam Secretary, your federal team has been nothing short of remarkable and impressive. I'm grateful for that. Every time I've reached out to you or your staff or Acting Administrator Richardson or the Acting Regional Administrator, I don't think the phone has rang twice before you've answered. Thank you for doing that. Thank you for being here with us. Life safety continues to be our #1 priority. We will continue the search until all those that are missing are found. We will start cleanup and property damage assessments as soon as possible. Our teams from FEMA have been in the State Emergency Operations Center since before we started operating on this event. They are exactly where we need them to be, doing exactly what we need them to be doing. Our Border Patrol partners have been here, and I'm so grateful for the U.S. Coast Guard. Acting Administrator Richardson and Regional Administrator Stoller have been great partners to us. We continue to work forward. And if I may, I'd just like to run across a few more of the numbers. 1,331 state additional personnel that have been added to this response on top of all your local responders. Over 906 state assets here. That's 125 from our agency, 172 from the Urban Search and Rescue Team at Texas Task Force 1, over 160 from the Department of Public Safety, over 250 from the Texas Department of Transportation, 170 from the Texas Wildlife Department, Military Department 136, and the A&M Forest Service here with 115, and almost 190 people on the health and medical side. Governor, our team stands ready to assist this community.
Thank you very much. One last thing, and that is, there is a word that's been the most common word that's been spoken over the past 36 hours, and that is the word prayer. It's been repeated by the people who are watching this as we speak right now. It's repeated often on social media, through phone calls, through texts, and those prayers are answered in so many ways. Answered by that child who was being swept down the river and happened to find a tree to cling on and was able to continue with uncommon strength to be able to remain clinging to that tree until the helicopter was able to descend upon her and lift her out of that harrowing situation. It could have been the reason why water stopped rising into a home or a cabin or something that would have caused an entire building to float away. It could be the reason why there have been so many people who have been located wherever they were down the river basin. It could be something that prevented somebody from getting into the water to begin with. All we know is that prayer does work. Your prayers have made a difference. We ask for continued prayers as we continue our efforts to locate everybody who's been affected by this, and pray so much for the families who have lost a loved one, who are going through challenging times that they never imagined on the 3rd of July that something like this would happen. Prayer matters, and we thank God Almighty. God has blessed Texas and will continue to bless our great state. We'll take a few questions.
Have the numbers changed? 27 dead and 27 missing from Camp Mystic.
Sure.
What I can tell you is there's still 27 missing. We have recovered some additional bodies at this time. We're trying to identify at this time. What I can tell you, an update, there's 32 deceased.
32 deceased.
18 of those are adults and 14 are children. 5 of the adults remain unidentified and 3 children remain unidentified. We are still working on that this time. As I said earlier this morning, the numbers are going to continue to change. They're going to continue to change till we're done. It's been a very good day as far as being out there and being able to do some things, and we've got a lot done.
Chief, early on there was a lot of conflicting information about the search, about the number of fatalities, the missing, even a lot of families and parents were rightfully concerned and more importantly confused about all this information. We just heard the judge refer to this as a shift from rescue to recovery. Can you clarify what that means? Are we talking about these missing people no longer believed to be alive?
You'll need the judge to answer that piece. Our state assets and local partners are continuing to search for live victims.
Is there any indication that there are still people out there alive? Any evidence?
History would tell us that after a certain time period, those chances diminish, and we can talk about all of the numbers and the metrics on that. Our hope and prayer is that there are still people alive that are out there, and we are still actively searching for them, and we will continue. And listen, that will turn into recovery at some point, and none of us want to put a time period on that right now. But when you talk to the men and women that are up there in those helicopters and out in those boats and walking the ground, they're looking for live people right now and doing everything they can to continue the search as fast as possible.
And Judge, just a moment to clarify, because we want to be very clear with especially families and parents that are watching this. What makes you feel like this has gone from rescue to potential recovery? Because there is a difference.
We will eventually get to the recovery.
2 more questions.
Well, we're going to do more than 2 more questions. I want to say this. My instruction to every state agency involved in this is to assume everybody who is missing is alive. And there's a need for speed. Not just every hour, every minute counts, which is why there's people in the air, people in the water, people on the ground right now, because they're looking to save every last life, and we will not give up that effort.
2 more questions.
Happening and what are the challenges? I live in Kerrville. Why was the National Weather Service not pinging their phones before 7 o'clock this day of 4th of July? And either federal people can answer that maybe for us. I got updates at 7 o'clock. First one I heard, and I've heard updates throughout the week, but not before 7 o'clock in the morning. Wasn't that a fundamental failure of the federal government's responsibility to keep us safe?
Well, you know, my background is before I was in the secretary position here under the Trump administration, I was governor of South Dakota and served in Congress for 8 years before I was governor. And so I will tell you that for decades, for years, everybody knows that the weather is extremely difficult to predict, but also that the National Weather Service over the years at times has done well, and at times we have all wanted more time and more warning and more alerts and more notification. That is something, and one of the reasons that when President Trump took office that he said he wanted to fix, and is currently upgrading the technology, and the National Weather Service has indicated that with that and NOAA that we needed to renew this ancient system that has been left in place with the federal government for many, many years, and that is the reforms that are ongoing there. The timeline that I have, I don't oversee the National Weather Service, that's not under my department, but the timeline that I did receive from them was that the notifications started to look at its expansion for its limited flood impacts area that started on July 3rd at 1:18 p.m. The flood watch was issued. Although it was moderate, it wasn't to the extremes that it was, that when the system came over the area that it stalled, it was much more water, much like I think we experienced during Harvey, the same type of system that was unpredictable in the way that it reacted and the way that it stopped right here and dumped unprecedented amounts of rain that caused a flooding event like this. They continue to elevate and up their notifications. You know, when your notification hit your phone, sir, I'm sorry, I can't speak to when that is, but I do carry your concerns back to the federal government and to President Trump, and we will do all we can to fix those kinds of things that may have felt like a failure to you and to your community members. But we know that everybody wants more warning time, and that's why we're working to upgrade the technologies that have been neglected by far too long to make sure that families have as much advanced notice as possible. But
one more question, folks. Can you please get into the search efforts and where that's happening and what the challenges are?
question was search efforts.
Where it's happening, challenges, what it's looking like.
Yeah, the entire river is being searched from the northernmost impact all the way as we run down. You have assets in the air that are still doing searches, you have boats that are in the water doing searches, and you have ground crews doing searches. As the water recedes, new areas being uncovered and searched, and you have human and canine that are working those banks and will continue. It's a grid situation where we've got maps in there in the EOC where you can see what group is assigned to what area and reporting back to command if they find or if they continue to clear. And that process is going to keep going. We are not stopping until we find everyone that's missing.
Thank you, everyone. That's all we got time for.
Go ahead.
As far as the resources people who are trying to recover, we have FEMA, we have the state.
Well, as in every emergency situation.
And the state government in this time of need, and there's a lot of that.
Well, as in every emergency situation, the local emergency responders put together what the request is through the state, and the state coordinates all of the response and what assets may be necessary and makes a request to us. So now that the governor has already requested this federal disaster declaration, he will start to tell us what the needs are, and the federal government will do all that we can to support.
Ma'am, will there be direct assistance?
Well, there already has been direct assistance. I mean, when you look at having Coast Guard assets here on the ground, we just requested more assets to be here, Border Patrol here. If there's more individuals and federal law enforcement officers, if we need, any assets that I may have under my purview, I've made available to NIM, and so he knows that if he needs something, it'll be here.
Great, thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Thank you, folks.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to
I have to say it's a really shameful press conference, and the reason I say that is because the public has the right to question and ask questions on what's going on, and they're cutting it back. Cutting it back. That's crazy, man. Is for such a imminent, dangerous emergency situation, they're saying the deaths are now 32, including 14 children. In my opinion, it's a pat on the back session the whole time. It's why are they even what is the delay in the press conferences every time now? Last night I'm thinking an hour because these guys are like strategize. Okay, this is the information. All they're doing is a pat on the back session. Maybe they'll give you the death count number like they did earlier and they did now, and that's it. And thank you, and and pray. And I've always believed, okay, prayer is cool, but there's got to be action behind them. I'm not saying there's not action, but this is a shameful press conference for people that are like in dire need, wanting to know information. This is shameful. And then the limited questioning. You get 2 questions. What? 2 questions? Just so many kids are missing? 2 questions? 2-3 questions? Why are you even holding these press conferences? It's all a facade. It's just the surface level. It's to make an appearance. That's crazy to me, man. That's just insane. Shameful. That's embarrassing. What was the point of that press conference? They could have just did a press release, typed something up and posted it. What was the point of that? And then limiting these people that have very, good questions, legit questions. Just like the question about the response. Why did it go out at 7 a.m.? Why didn't it go out before? What's up with the system? What's going on with that? I mean, this stuff is just a repeat of what we historically have done. We should have the technology. Weather is unpredictable. We should have some technology and alerts going out and stuff like that ahead of time. Why weren't those kids from the camp evacuated? I mean, I guess it was further away from the river. That's a mess, man. That shit does not look good at all to me. They need to take lessons from Maui. That's crazy, man. Damn, Kelsey said they just suck each other off. Yeah, that's if I mean if I was I just can't imagine if it was like me or my family or a friend or something, man, and that's all that just limiting you to the very before they even got to ask the first question, they were like, oh, 2 questions or 3 questions.
Down and play at the river. That was obviously a different scene here yesterday. Where I'm standing right now, I'm told that I was under maybe 3-4 feet of water. Just incredible to think about when you see the power of this water. Also out here, usually we spoke to a gentleman behind us is the VFW post here in Kerrville. He told us usually you can't.
Another pressure at 6. I don't know. What's the point? But maybe I'll have to take a look and see. We're getting more information from the local media that's out there and the people on the ground that's out there reporting. What about the camp? Yo, they didn't even mention the camp. How do you have a press conference and not talk about the kids in the camp? They just get the total number of confirmed deaths and updated the children death. How do you not even talk about that? How do you just, all right, we got to go? What the? They're wanted to cosplay for those that vote. Yeah, that's shameful, man. That shit to me, I was wow. That's nah. All right, well, I'm gonna head out, man, because I'm gonna spend some time, with baby girl. Try to, summer. We got the kids, and feel bad for those parents, man. Feel bad for those parents. Even last night, I after the stream, I went outside and I was standing outside with my daughter for a little bit, watching the fireworks. She doesn't really like how loud the sound is, and I took some pictures and recorded. But then I thought about those kids and just those parents that are not gonna be spending time with their kids anymore. You just never know what could happen, man. Shameful press conference, man. Wow. I'm still kind of taken back from that. Wow, it's just trash. I don't know. Jeez. What do I want them to say? That the kids have likely been dead since the beginning? No, it's not that. Like I said earlier, you might have missed it. I feel like they should communicate more about like, hey, this is the plan. This is what's going on. We're searching these rivers. We have this amount of helicopters. The one guy said how many people they have on the ground. We're using this kind of technology. This is the, if families, if you're missing some contact, call this phone number. We have this resource center. Here's the website that we have, where you can find this and that. Just anything, If you have nothing to say, then don't say anything. What was the point of even getting up there? That's the thing. If you have nothing to say, then why even get up there? There's a lot of questions about the alert system, communicate. How are they communicating to people? What's the best way of communication? Where can people stay at? People that don't have homes. I mean, has that been said? I mean, I don't know. Where can they stay at? My home's been washed away. Is there a phone number I can call? Is there a place I can go? A website? Something. Or can I report my missing family member? I mean, people are saying they call 911. There's no answer. And I understand it's an emergency going on. All right, guys. Well, I will catch you later. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. I know there's a lot of streams going on, a lot of news going on. Yeah, you watched the match of tons of question. What did I think I've watched? I didn't watch the earlier press conference today, but I'm thinking, man, when you have all those kids missing like that, I mean, I thought that press conference was a waste of time. Just my opinion. But all right, love you guys. Bye. Take care. Bloop, bloop. Catch you later. Be safe. There was some explosion in Detroit. Was it Detroit? I can't even keep up anymore. Detroit had an explosion. I don't know what's going on. House explosion. One house exploded and two other houses are on fire. Oh my gosh. What are these people doing in their houses?